Ah, yes, 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 yes. Yes. Welcome everybody. Welcome to another edition of the live stream here on the Chaos Rain Show. I am Chaos Rain here. Today. I put the poll out there, I put the thought in it, and I say, heck, why not? I might as well get this take on it. For those that's new to the Chaos Rain Show, welcome to the Chaos Rain. I see y'all in the comment section in the chat room. What's good, guys? What's good? You know how it is. Always catch the replay, or whenever you get a chance, go back to this. Always appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like and leave a comment once you do watch this. The links to follow me are the following. You can follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7, which I'll put right here. You can also add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Rain. I think Eric Rain 3 on Facebook. And I forgot to add the 3, but y'all see that in the comment section and the description of this channel. Also, what else to find? Join me on Rumble. Follow me on Rumble. I would appreciate y'all, start making your way to Rumble. Not much content, but nonetheless, it won't hurt just to start following there when I start going a little bit more hardcore on Rumble. You know how the platform stays. And what else? I think the last but not least, join Discord service of the Chaos Rain Show as well. So let me find Discord. Join me on Discord as well. A lot of things on Discord, so no, don't be hesitant. And also, join and become membership of the Chaos Rain Show as well. There's some things that I would like to be throwing up on their members only. And there are videos now, and I think I might migrate one of the videos there, but I think it's a little bit too hard to keep for the first one. I faked the first stage, but things could change and to give them notice, So hold on, guys. All right, sorry about that. Let's check how my volume is. Hey, my volume's good. All right, and please support the channel as well. Let me see. Where's the support? I forgot my brands. Also support that too. And please, as we get into the chat room, be interactive, livelihood, communicate with each other, and also, I might look at periodically, depending on this mood. What else I have on that I want to label out? I think that's pretty much it. We could begin. As you know, the title, you see the thumbnail, you see the one, the Godfather on the right, KS, and you see the one that only the Oracle, the Queen Mother, Miss Sister Elder Shahrazad Ali. 69 years of age, born 1954. I think she's actually either Aries or Taurus. I think she's born month of April. My mind seeks me. And the most famous book that really started it really all. And if I could Google it right now, let me see if I can Google it for y'all. Google image. Sister, no, I'm sorry. The book that started it all. What they call Black Man's Guide to Understanding Black Woman. And I'm going to show you the picture of the book since we talk about it. Now that's an anniversary edition. Sorry. And I think the original book that came out, that was written in 89, Then she said it was released in 1990 of March. So if I share screen and show you the picture of the book, because you guys see what we're talking about. Because this is the book that got a lot of these, or majority of men, Let me see that. Y'all see that? That's the book. This yellow book. And I think I'm not sure if the anniversary edition came out in 2000. It might be 2000. It's 2000. Matter of fact, 1 second, guys. Let me find the book. I have the book with me. All right. This book. Let me see. Sister Ali stars in Hidden Colors 1, 2, 3, and 5. So I'm not sure if this is the 20th anniversary, but right now it's roughly now 33 years now. It was copyright in 1989. So I would say no greater than this book was actually released in 89. So this is copyright. So this book is actually 34 years old, not 33. For all intents and purposes. Yeah. A straightforward book. No citations. As y'all can see. Let me stop sharing this. So now, let me see if I got anything left. No, I didn't. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So I guess we can begin. We'll put the fair use here. We're gonna go through some of the videos that got a lot of men in their fifis about, personally, about Sister Shahrazad Ali. For a reason, I mean, I have no problem with the elder because I would say out of most people that's we talk about Black America, she, to be really honest, was the one that really had to really start the conversation about the issues amongst our community and the issue with Black women, and really point the finger on Black women as a whole. Roughly now 34 years ago. So I'm gonna let her talk, and you're gonna like this. I'm going to do something very unique and special. This one is a first. Let's begin. And like always, fair use. And please make sure you hit that like button and share this. And, comment. Let's go.
Well, I got the idea. I had written a book in 1985. Oh, these all seem so long time ago. But anyway, I had written a book called How Not to Eat Pork, A Life Without the Pig. Okay? And I was going around with that, taking a microscope, showing the people how to kind of worm, look at the muscle in the brain. And I was, like I said, I've always been an activist of some kind, trying to do something for us. And I noticed that the men were saying, "Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I'm gonna get with that." Da da da. And they were more in agreement. And the sisters were, "He gonna eat what I cook. I've been cooking it. He been eating it, and my grandma ate it, and she's still here. She ate it." And I said, "Wait a minute, what's happening here?" And that happened a few times. Not a lot of people, but a few times that caught my ear. And I said, "Now we are withholding the proper food from the Black man, and food is what sustains life."
Oh, and another thing, a side note for those that's not familiar. I think the man that compelled this interview, he does interviews with other people around the conscious circuit, especially. I'm not sure if he's West Indian, but this is his channel interview. So I give honors to the brother that brought a lot of scholars, a lot of elders to really have conversation that affects the Black people and anything related to Black love, Black issues, etc. So I want to give kudos to that. Let's begin. Let's continue. Fair use.
What else are we withholding that is affecting his development and success? And so then I started looking at us, which had not been done. Because prior to me writing The Black Man's Guide, and it was released in March of 1990, I wrote it in 1989. But
Which it was actually released. If you look at the book itself from the first page cover, copyright 1989. Now, regardless, it was actually physically released in what do you call it, 2000? I'm sorry. It was released in 1990. It was really written and finished in 1989. So this book's actually 34 years old. Let's continue.
was that we did not want to take too much any accountability for the condition of our families and the failure of our families and the undisciplined children, everything. And because then everything was blamed on the black man. You know, he ain't this, he ain't in the house, he ain't paying this, he not working, he not whatever. With us negating the fact that he was under, you know, you all were under a terrible system. You didn't have anything going. You were still held back by your color, not your ability. And I didn't like that because I had a wonderful husband and I had great sons as a result of that. And I did not want you all to continue to function without really knowing us like we thought we knew you.
But that's the problem. How many black men today, no, they complain, they, have their issues with black women, have really put the microscope or really look at it as a whole and think, say, do we really know or understand black women? Answer is no, never. And if you do want to investigate and even criticize it, you're going to get chastised. Hell, you might get, let's say you get, that's the best I can explain. Let's continue.
Okay, we had support in every negative idea we had about every black man. Okay, and the black man you see now is not the black man of the 50s and 60s and 70s. Okay, they have grafted you all in a way. You all are whole new different people than the kind of men we knew. Okay, but at any rate, I wanted to just study us and look at that, and so I got it from traveling, interviewing people, and the foundational principles of what makes success in a relationship, and from myself and just a lot of different, aspects of life. I started, gathering that information. It was there all along. The Black Man's Guide is not a surprise. It's just the first time y'all seen it in print. Yeah, ain't no surprises in that.
And all right.
Basically, it's your premise that the black woman is out of sync with the natural order of things. Can you explain that?
Well, it's a very sensitive subject, and certainly I believe that I have tried to approach it from a very sensitive angle. What I have actually said is that the black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in the black family structure. It's not an attack on us as black women. It's just saying that in the breakdown of any relationship, both parties have to take responsibility. And as black women, we have been protected and insulated from any kind of examination about what our share of the responsibility is in the breakdown of the black family. My book represents the first platform, certainly, that the black man has ever had to air his grievances about the black woman, because no one would ever listen to him. They have only listened to us.
And for those that's coming in, thank you. Make sure you hit the like button. I'm not looking at the chat room, so I'm not sure what's going on here. But if y'all liking, please likes are free. As you see, the side by side from 2023 to roughly 1991, in a span of 32 years. And you're going to see this time on time as the stream progress. The microscope, the finger pointing. It is easy, ladies, to evade accountability, knowing that you might have some form of power here in this so-called Western Hemisphere we call America. But as like anything, no one is exempt from accountability. Men are not exempt, and don't think you ladies are exempt. Regardless, the black man is pointing fingers at you, telling your wrongful doings and your shortcomings. whether you don't like to hear or not. Matter of fact, I think when we talk about the accountability piece with ladies, it's a big sting. It hurts spiritually, emotionally, and every other category. Because in their mind, they think that as the world turns and as the world functions, doing what the hell you want is considered freedom. Yes, it is. But we all know freedom comes with always prices. And I think most ladies now, they're reaping the reward and actually the consequence of this so-called said freedom, unfortunately. Unfortunately. And what Shahrazad Ali proclaims why she does what she does is because she knows the importance of accountability. Hell, she is a black woman herself. She does have these issues with men. So a lot of people want to know. And I'm not sure every time she got married. Maybe she got married maybe more than once. But she knows the importance of working, dealing with, and understanding men in general. And I think a lot of black women don't really understand the nature of men. Not just black men, but men in general, in my opinion. You have your favorite content creators talking about say that the men cannot be incapable of love. Well, if that is so true, then you're incapable of understanding men. Rather, you want to understand that your refusal has dire consequences. Unfortunately. Let me read these comments. Let's see. The men always lift her up, but not what she says about what you all need to work on. Actually, she wrote a book called The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. So she did not write one book, Melanin Vessel. She wrote two. And the other book came out 31 years later. Came out in 1992, last time I checked. But we all know most of us, when we read books, if we ever read books, we don't just go and find one side of the story. We don't find both sides of the story. We like to find both. One side. And one side alone is enough. We screw everything else. Next comment. She wrote a book, Women's Guide to Black. Pay in mind. Yes, I did say that. She tells half-truths and she constantly contradicts herself. Some to focus on space. And what was the contradiction and half-truths she said, Mel Vessel? And when you answer that, have you read the book? I have the book, and I'm not really finished reading the book. And right now, this is her own research. So let's keep going. Fair use.
Can you tell us a little bit about the book itself? What brought you to this point of having to sit down and use your pen to write this book?
Well, actually, it was my first book. In 1985, I authored How Not to Eat Pork or Life Without the Pig. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I was going around doing what I was calling Get Off That Hog lectures. And during my travels, I noted that I would take the microscope and show people how you can't kill the trichina worm in pork by cooking it. Heat was not destroying the worm, and I would show them, the difference, and demonstrate how FDA was now using radiation to try to kill the worms in pork because cooking was not working, which is what we had always been told. And during that time, a lot of black men were in agreement to get off eating pork. They wanted to change their eating habits, and they were happy to find out some information that might possibly save their lives. But it was black women.
Now, mind you, ladies, this was back in the mid-'80s. Like, literally, 38 years ago. Now, imagine the consciousness at that time for men and women at the time. When they started to get into so-called consciousness or the apex of what we call consciousness, really. Where a lot of black people were making certain changes. I think depending their background, how they're raised, if they're raised by parents that were conscious, pro-black, maybe Black Panthers, etc. They, as young kids, became adults themselves in the 80s, knew the importance of certain information. And usually when they find real information that really affects them, in my opinion, a good portion of black people, men especially, will make the change and say, I'm going to do something different. But it's ironic that the black woman refused to really make some serious changes, even with this woman bringing information about the effects of pork, not only in the system, the intestines, but also in the brain. And let you know that how much you're so addicted to poison that you will even yourself will not even refrain from the hog. And yes, it is difficult to refrain from hog for those that been eating chitlings, pork chops, ribs, for a long time. You're gonna have to get off eventually because depending on your health, it is a necessity if you want to be around a little longer. Personally, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, there are other meats now that you should not be consuming anyway, but that's another story. But really, the major problem that black people face is really getting off the pig. Because if you look at most foods you consume daily, in our book, How Not to Eat Pork, there are many byproducts of pigs. The Jacana worm or essence of the pig in that, which I didn't know of. But like I said, this is not the purpose of the stream. We'll focus on really Kevin Samuels and Shahrazad Ali. Well, let's continue.
Who were the most adamant, who refused to change meal planning techniques, seasoning food, cooking techniques. And so I said, it's interesting. I said, if we are refusing to provide the black man with the proper physical food when we know that food is what sustains life, then what else are we withholding from him? Possibly there are some other areas, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, that we are affecting his behavior by what we do or what we withhold and refuse to give. And that led me to try to find out. We've always heard that the black man leaves the black family, abandons his woman and children, won't take care of the children, won't work, stays out all night, turns into a drunk, takes drugs. We've heard a lot of negative things. Most of them are true. But I wanted to find out what happens before he gets to that point. What leads up to the breakdown? We've never gone back to try to find out what happens in the relationship between the black man and a black woman.
I'll tell you. I'll give you an answer. What happens is like you hear always from black people's community. They said the man just got up and left. He went go get some pack of cigarettes and go, and never see him again. But it never hit me that there's always a cause to every effect. Because why would a man, even decades ago, since Reconstruction at the end of Jim Crow up into the 50s, into even up to later on 70s and 80s, that a man just get up and leave? There has to be a lot of factors that go in for a man to really say, F this stuff and I'm out. And I never really analyzed it entirely. I always thought, I hear these same stupid stories, but I never put the thought, but why would a man that has more than one child just put an end to it? There's something more into it. And like I said, we never know because we never go into the real details of why. Everything has a why to everything. No person does anything for coincidence. There's purpose for everything people do, ladies. Let me see. All right, so let me keep going.
That makes him go off and do all of these bad things. To assume that this is just normal, natural behavior for black men would be to assume that he is naturally bad. And I do not believe that the man that God gave to us as a mate is a naturally bad person. And so I wanted to try to examine what goes on with him. What's his side of the story?
Did a black man ask you to write this book?
Oh, no, certainly not. I think they were just as surprised as black women. Many of them approached the title of the book with a little apprehension because they have not had a champion. We have never had a black woman who actually stood up and said, I'm standing up for the black man's side of the story. We know what our side is, and both sides are true. We have done some very dreadful things to each other. And I don't exonerate black men, which is kind of a misconception that people have. I just say that we know his side. What about our side? And we do have a side. We have adopted some wrong standards. We are judging our men many times by the wrong value system. We are using his children sometimes against him. We have been told that the only benefit that a black man provides in a home is money, and if he does not give us money to take care of those kinds of financial provisions, that he has no value. And what my research has proven to me is that a black man, any man in any home, provides much more than financial support. The man provides guidance, instruction, discipline for the children, which we sorely need in our black homes. He provides gratification, fulfillment, protection. I mean, there are so many other values, and these values are the ones that are missing in our children today, which is why many black children are in the street, out of control themselves, disrespectful, don't have any regard for anyone, and most of us are scared of them, and everybody else is, because nobody has a way into them to try to gain any control over them. So I maintain.
So that's a lot she just said. And that was the whole purpose of keeping people fractured, giving them handouts, trinkets. Which certain trinkets are a necessity, mind you. But it should not be where you have generation on government assistance. I'm never sure if I told y'all, ladies and gentlemen, especially you ladies, a story one friend that I was close with told me one of her own family members. And it's funny, even mention this story, how her side family, she knows one of her own family members were on assistance for not only one generation, but now going on a third generation. And the reason why that is because in their mind, if someone's giving them a stipend of month of food stamps and maybe adequate housing, 9 tenths of the time they're going to take it. But here's the kicker. If you do take it, there is consequence. Now, unlike other groups that are on the same system, government assistance, we as black people, we cannot really be on it like that or use it in a way to get ourselves back in order. And the reason why that is, unfortunate, I hate to say this, is because if everybody was able to use it and still be able to, function as a family, we'll go farther. No, we pay into the system. But in regards to black folks, and this is usually a Eurocentric society, their intention is that if you get this, if I feed you, I create your reality. And the reality I state and see that I set forth for you as a person, you black woman and kids, is that you will be a property, just like days in slavery, to the point where your children will be so out of control that they will land themselves back into their debtors' prisons / prison systems. The boys will be out doing God knows whatever they're doing to whoever, and they will do something. They're going to catch a charge and throw themselves back in the slavery system. Young girls, they're going to be out there in these streets, and I mean these streets to the point where they're going to be on maybe doing some illegal activity, and hell, they might even be the ones doing and be riding the, where is that? They'll be riding the carousel. I'll show you. Yep, the carousel. Let's continue.
That a return to traditional family values, certain clearly defined gender responsibilities for black men and black women in running a home and a relationship will help us to produce a better child. And if we produce a better child, certainly we'll have a better future and a better nation.
In saying all of this, and as calling yourself a champion and having, if I may say, the courage to write this book and stand by it, you've caused a stir. This book is very controversial. What are you hearing from public reaction?
Well, I don't think.
So everything you learned from the book about not eating pork, you applied to this book in regards to marketing, how to get everything done?
Well, of course, all of the worlds have a joining on, especially with knowledge. You can, go from one step to the other, lead you to the other. Diet is very important. Diet is the reason that we are overweight, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol. liver disease. Now we're getting a whole thing on kidney disease. You know, a lot of these things we have developed from bad diet. We don't know what we're eating. We're the only people in America who don't have a food chain. And when I say that, I don't mean stores. We don't have a food path. The Asians, they have stores. They have food in there that's got their language. We don't even know what's in the can if it ain't no picture of it. They created that. We even have Africans here who have food that they have brought in from the East and from South Africa that they are able to sell here, that they manufactured. They brought it in, however. And of course, the Latinos, the Mexicans, all of them have their own food. We can't even, as I said, read a lot of the labels. And so everyone here has a food path except us. Our only food path is to get it from them. Okay? White people even get a lot of their food, you know, out of Italy and a lot of places over there in Europe. But we don't have any place. We don't get along with the Africans, and they don't get along with us. They've been taught to hate us and dislike us and think we're a fool. And we've been taught we don't like their attitude. They act like they're superior, you know, because we're walking around talking about we are African Americans. We're not African Americans. We are American Africans. This is how African look that's been indoctrinated with all the nonsense of America. This is how an African looks when they have been robbed of their God, their politics, and their principles. We are a result. This is what it looks like. Okay? Honorable Elijah Muhammad teachings, the first thing it does is dignify you. And it does teach you superiority because you are superior. We don't have to pretend that we're not superior. Certainly the black man. Because by you all accepting that you are less, and they have made it almost illegal. That's one of the things they said against the messenger, is that he teaching racial superiority. Absolutely. They teach it. And if they didn't teach racial superiority, then how come they don't say that Jesus is black or Chinese or Latino? They make
Yes. Every racial ethnic group do promote and teach their own betterment and superior within their own culture and within their own race. And as y'all know, I end the poll because the poll need to be restructured. So I'll leave the poll as is. But really, truly, because that mindset, they had to teach one group of people that you're inferior. And with inferior people, you're not going to amount and bring the full potential for your own destiny to thrive and to take back what is rightfully yours, and that is dominance and superiority, unfortunately. So, you know, for those that don't really like that, that's how the world works. There's not only winners, but there's one that is superior and there's someone that is lower than them. I think every group, every species does this. As we as black people, we don't understand that that's how the game works. That's how the game is being played. And they promote it and condition you that make you feel and you view yourself as inferior, unfortunately. But let's keep going. Very useful.
them white like them. That's the supreme racial superiority that they tricked us with. Yeah. But the church give us an activity that we think we're doing for God. The church give us something to do. The church give us what the messenger called the imagination of truth. It lets us dream of something when we know good and well what he taught is that nobody's interested in the affairs of man but another man. All right? And he told us that if Jesus or any of them people that they say they believe in came down here, or if an angel, if a human being came down here with wings on their back and somebody floated down out of the clouds or did any of that, we wouldn't run up to them and say, "Oh, Lord." We would run away from them. Okay? And the white people would try to kill them. They would shoot him. That would be the first thing. "Oh, no, we're not having none of that." And that's, so we have been taught to look at things in such a ridiculous way. It's just absurd.
Since you brought up Christianity, I had a question I want to ask before we get back to the book. I heard you say, I don't know if it's in the book, I heard you in an interview say, you said these preachers or leaders, Christian leaders, are not praying for people, they're preying on them. Can you explain what you meant by that?
I don't remember saying that, but I'm sure you paraphrase in some kind of way. It's like a lot of the so-called ministers and preachers and different people we got out here, they're not teaching you to worship God, they're teaching you to worship them. Okay? God don't need money in that way. And there has never been a God recorded that lived in high riches like all of the people that say they represent God do today. It's not a necessity. Okay? In fact, when you really are strong in your faith, you don't even want a lot of material things as proof that you are in contact with God. You know, the blessing is survival. The blessing, the supreme blessing, is peace, which is something we don't have. We don't have peace. We're not even familiar with it, other than saying peace or peace and love and things like that. But as a way of life, as to practice it in our homes and over our children so that we can model a new idea, that's the only way to change a people. You change their idea. You don't have to.
I think the word peace today, I think, is subjective, in my opinion. In the world, there's always going to be form of obstacles and conflict and enemies. You're not going to escape that. You're not going around that. So when I hear too many people always constant about peace all the time, it tells me that you as a person, one, you're not peace with self. Two, you don't understand how not only society works, how system works, but how the world actually runs and accept as is. And another thing, I could even go as far as you're delusional. Now, it'd be nice that we have peace once in a while or maybe years down to come. But always keep in mind, with peace, always comes responsibility that you must defend to keep something in peace. And as I look at, most people are not in the business of keeping or defending what is theirs so they can hold of some importance or hold of anything what we call peace. Because the world will never be peace. Peace, the world is a very wicked and nasty place. So yeah, I live in it somehow. Anyway.
To change the environment. You don't have to charge them nothing. You don't have to join no group. Just change your idea. And the rest of all of you will get in line with that. And you will be successful in whatever that idea is. Now, that idea can be robbing a bank. That idea can be murdering somebody. But if you get in agreement in your mind to do it, it can turn out all kinds of ways. So we should get in agreement in our mind to practice doing things a different way, to raise our children a different way, and stop treating the children like they are a burden, you know, and that they are in the way. And all that talk about the children are the future. Well, we're looking at the future now. Do we like it? No, we don't like it. Our children are savage running the streets. We've let them get raised up on all the nonsense on every media that we could afford to buy them. That's not anything we're proud of. They're very ignorant and disrespectful and embarrassing, and most of us are afraid of them because they're so savage.
But that's a result of, to be fair, honest with y'all, bad parenting. I think most parents, after if you're born around the 60s, I would say going on the 70s, in my opinion, that's where the laziness started to come around. The children that were born around roughly 1990, at least, in my opinion. We could say somewhere around late 80s, but really 1990 was the pinnacle where you see the effects of it. Because I think during the 80s, depending on the situation, if you were not a victim of, the drug epidemic, you had some form of common sense and discipline, and not only outside, but inside the home, depending on how your parents raise you. But other than that, once you're past a certain decade, like if you're like I said, late 80s, probably 90s, you were like savages when you're adults. You're young, you don't give a crap. You do what you want. Hell, some of them talking about this intersectionality nonsense, and that's really people that's born in late 90s. But other than that, like Shahrazad Ali said, that most parents are not being parents and not taking it seriously. Most of them want to be friends with their children instead of being actual fathers and mothers, or mothers to their son and daughters. So what you develop and what you create is a reckless, entitled brat. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's continue.
They have no predictability. I had a high school ask me to come and speak to the seniors because that one book I have, Things Your Parents Should Have Told You, it was required reading in a lot of schools at one time, that the children had to read this and understand it before you get your diploma, especially in New York. And so I would look at the condition of the children and recognize that we're looking at the tomorrow. And we don't have an alternate plan. There's a few good brothers out here with some schools now for black boys especially. Okay, we need that. We need them for the girls. And that's another thing I want to mention. We need to start letting our little boys play with dolls. Now, this is a campaign that I'm trying to get started. They need to play with dolls because we got young men out here and older men that the child interrupt the video game, they knock it out with their fists. They beat them, they kill them, they don't know how to discipline them physically, they go too far, they punching them with their fists. They're doing a lot of things to these babies, taking their frustration out on them and anger out on them because they don't relate to it, they don't know how to deal with it. So we tend to just teach motherhood as if that's all you need, while on the other hand, we're talking about you need the father in the home, when we don't consider teaching you all fatherhood. There ain't no magic in none of it. We have to be taught everything. And so if we teach the father how to relate to the child and the baby, maybe he'll do a little different. We can't just teach the mother how to be a mother, and if the father don't know it. And that that got past me too. Why do we think that you all automatically have that? You've been up under the same slave master's grandchildren and great-grandchildren and enemy that we have been under. So we have all been affected in our way of thinking. We're not doing things like we used to do them. And so we're not getting that result anymore. It's too many variables. We have allowed too much to get into our children's head. And we have let them see bad models, children cursing their parents out, fighting their parents, doing all of those kind of things.
Yeah, the one thing that was foreign to me, seeing young boys and girls now physically actually fighting the parent. And at one time, you as a boy or girl, and you try to really get up on your parents, man, it'll be the last thing you ever thought in your God-forsaken life. You will live to regret it. Sometimes you might not walk out the house moving. I'm just saying. But now they're so bold. And I think one of the few things, because we get and we follow these bad Eurocentric behavior in regards that we think we are non-blacks or Caucasoids and black skin. We're not. We're not Jimmy or Sarah. We black boys, black girls. Can't do the same thing they do and hope to get a more better result. Matthew, you get a rude awakening if you as a young child thinking and operating that way. I'm just saying. I think discipline should be brought back in the household. And it should be brought back now than ever, because how our children really run amok out here. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway.
That hasn't worked. And so people say I'm old school. Now, I'm on the system that worked. The one we got now has not worked, is not working, and will not. We have to be able to have some input into those kind of things. We got young people now that don't even know personal hygiene. So who's responsible?
Yeah, that's actually true. Man. I'm going to let her talk it. I'll give you my take.
Responsibility is it to teach that?
That's a big thing. I taught in public school.
Yes,
in Philly for
yes,
years,
absolutely.
And people don't acknowledge that kids don't know basic hygiene.
The girls or the boys?
And they're not taught.
No.
So.
Young black women about whether or not the book is true or not. The issue is that I was not supposed to tell. These are inside secrets and things that we have never let our men know about. And many times we say? He can't handle me. Well, many times he can't handle us because he doesn't know what it is he's trying to handle. He doesn't understand what motivates us. We have become very adept, many of us, as being able to do something right in front of his eyes and then convince him that that's not what he really saw at all and that it didn't happen. So we've kept him kind of confused.
Excuse me, do you realize that there are many bookstores, and in particular black bookstores, that have refused to carry the Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman?
I think that that's been overblown. Right now, the book is carried in over 5,000 bookstores here in this country and about 2,000 abroad. The book is becoming a bestseller in London. And to date, we only know of 2 bookstores in the entire country who refuse to carry the book.
May I tell you that there is
And I wonder why back in 1990, why only a few, those 2 bookstores. I tell you why they didn't want to carry that. Because let's be fair, honest. They didn't want the notion that, and depending if they're run by black men, which there was, I think, back in the 90s, I think, that there's certain information that can't be out to the general public amongst black folks. And one of the things is understanding the black woman. Oh, no, that's a secret. You can't have information like that out there. You put that information out there, you're going to be in trouble. And let's be honest, what other strategy book you want to have in your hand, brothers, to understand how the black woman thinks and moves and why she thinks and look at you as less than? I'm just saying. Let's continue.
at least one in Tallahassee.
There may be, but
And
it's their loss if they're doing that.
The response we got from that book owner was that your book had nothing, absolutely nothing constructive.
Was that a woman who gave
say.
you those comments?
Yes, it was.
Oh, how surprising. Okay.
Let's talk about some of the things that seem to be upsetting people, or that people are talking
there
about.
certainly have been a lot of things taken out of context. Anyone who's ever looked at me or seen, witnessed some of the talk shows, they actually exploit a lot of issues. They take them out of context. They want to sensationalize them to build up their ratings to have a good show. So I really appreciate this opportunity to just sit down and have a fireside chat about the book.
Well, I'm glad you're
without
here.
all the fireworks and everything.
You say black women, and I quote you as saying, nag, nag, nag,
Yes,
and that
we
we
do.
are essentially responsible for pushing our men away by doing
A
so.
lot of times, we take a position because of our own emotional mechanisms. We harass our men too much. We nag our men too much, and we keep his mind and his head so bundled up and bogged down with all of our personal idiosyncrasies about our day-to-day personal relationship with him that a lot of times we don't free his mind up to go out and to plan sanely for our future and for the future of our children. Many of them come to us every day and they almost have to do a wind test. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who they're going to meet because we have a lot of reactions. We tend.
And for those that's listening, please, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and become a member of the Chaos Rain Show. And please leave a comment as well. Hello, Miss Sunkiss, how you doing? Let's keep going. Fair use.
To think as black women that a successful relationship and one where we're happy is one where everything goes our way. And the first time it goes another kind of a way, then we go into hell, turmoil in our brain, and we start deciding, oh, I've got terrible problems with this man. He won't do what I want him to do. When our men have a side.
Let me give that side according to
they have a
Shahrazad
side.
Ali, okay? You say in your book,
Okay, let's
and
get
I'm
to it.
quoting
Come
you,
on.
okay? The black man in America is the only male on earth, including every continent, who is disrespected by the women in his nation.
That's true.
This situation does not exist anyplace else among the billions of people inhabiting our planet except here in America.
That's right.
The other black men, the yellow men, the red men, the brown men, and the white men are all honored and respected by their respective nations. All other women recognize and accept that the man is the authority, the ruler, and the leader. Only here in the United States, in the black nation, scattered throughout the United States, is the black man neglected. That's pretty powerful.
And it's absolutely.
But no one ever asks, why is that? Why is it only America? And we can't really speak only America alone because we have not traveled to other parts of the outside America. We have not traveled to the Caribbean islands. We have not traveled to South America where there's more of us, actually black mainly people, hopefully. I mean, there are some, you have to look for them. Or even go as far as the continent Africa. We never ask why. Why are only America where the black man feels like he ain't ish? And he's getting the stink face, the resting ish face, all these things. The answer is simple. Because you are not God, brother. Do you want me to run the Mr. Carroll's theme about? No, I don't got it download. I can't play here. But you are not God. Your skin, your allure, everything about you is sin. It is the enigma of evil. All right, let me see. I see somebody in the chat room. Wait, let me see. Queen Sun Kiss, hello. And Afro Nations, good evening, sir. You are the personification of the evil. And also, Black women, you are also, too, the personification of evil as well. Because, like everything, if you are Black in nature, Black man or Black woman, you are what we call the evil side of things. This world, this propaganda promotes and say who is God and who is the devil. I'm going to keep saying this until y'all guys get annoyed of me. I rationalized and came to a conclusion about this years ago about this, that the reason why we have the issue with is in regards to systematic oppression, racism, or all the things you want to call that hurts Black people, is simple. They have created the personification of what is good and what is evil. And like everything, if you are evil, you're going to be treated as is and as some of lesser than, some that they have to delete, to keep in shackles systematically, to all of the bad negatives. While something that is the personification of God has to be uplifted, put up front, have to be protected. I hope y'all guys follow me. Wait, I see some in the comment section. Wait, let me see what this is. What's this? I don't see it. That comment's gone. Oh no, I was looking at some wrong. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. All right, let's keep going. I was looking at the wrong thing, guys.
True. We have been displaced. A lot of us don't really understand what slavery actually did to us and how much psychological trauma it did to us regarding what our proper roles are with each other, what our responsibilities are as man and woman in our various communities and relationships. We have never been debriefed from slavery. Not really. We have just, we know we had that history, but we don't know how it affected us. We don't know how much of our actual culture we lost, how much of our ideas were taken from us. We know that our religion was taken from us. We know that our names were taken from us, but we don't know how many other standards of day-to-day life have been removed. And while we have adopted the American way of doing things, they have not worked for us because we have a very special situation. We are not the same as everyone else. And a lot of the people who want us to pretend that slavery didn't exist or to forget about it, they've never been a slave. So they don't know what we're going through. They don't know what this has done to us. It has made us as Black women insecure.
Why not? Well, okay, if that's true, why not take up for us? Why not write something that says we need that?
We've had everybody to take up for us, and we've always had books about Black women, how great and how strong we are, and we are that. I'm just saying that we have used our strength in the wrong direction. We have used it against our men instead of standing up for them. And if we start to support our men and to speak a good word for him publicly, then so many people won't be able to come against him and tear him down, and he won't have to feel so frustrated, and he won't be outside away from us looking for peace of mind with women of other nationalities, because we actually want our own Black man. We need him back in our homes, and we want to have one. We're just living in a culture where they're trying to convince us that not only do we not need a man, but there's some other options to having one. And those options mainly are celibacy or lesbianism.
Oh! Do y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Now, can y'all recall there's a particular content creator pushing the engagement of weirdoism, where you're going to be engaged in, licky acts? And I'm trying to be clean as possible. And I don't want to be clean tonight, but because this is a very touching subject, a very important one. And yes, she's going to eventually talk about Kevin Samuels as I'm back and forth these videos. As y'all come to the channel, and come to this live stream or a video, you catch replay, that you must understand that Shahrazad Ali called this thing out decades ago. Frances Wilson called this thing out decades. Even the release of the ISIS papers that came out a year after she alleged released the Black Woman's Guide to Understanding, the Black Man's Guide to Understanding Black Women. These books came in parallel, one year to next. Ain't that something? Just food for thought. But yeah, there are content creators as we speak are pushing, and I mean pushing loneliness and engage in licky acts, which they're already doing already. Let's continue.
There's an old saying that says, charity begins at home and spreads abroad. And
Absolutely.
in your book, you say that we are not bringing up our daughters and our sons in a correct manner to respect their
No,
fathers.
we're not. Unfortunately, as I say, since money has been used as the measure, many times if a black man does not have money to give us, we won't even let him see his children. We won't let him spend any time with it because he does not give us whatever the child support is. And I'm not saying that we don't need money to raise a child, but I try to explain to black women that raising a child consists of much more than feeding, clothing, and sheltering it. That's maintaining one. To raise one, you need a return of the parental coalition of the father and the mother to put the proper values into the child. Many of our boys, when we raise them alone, they grow up with the female emotional mechanism. They are suspicious, they are doubtful, they're disrespectful of womanhood, they are bitchy, they can't make a decision. And many of our girls who grow up in a home where there's no man present, they go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have any idea how to live with a man day to day, how to prepare a proper meal, how to be a mother, how to just be in love in the home. Most of what our people and our children especially have learned about how you have a relationship, they learned off of television.
Boom. Not only they learn from television, now they learn from laptops, smartphones, iPhones, Androids, and now tablets. And like I said from the other video, which you see me bounce back and forth, when you're a lazy parent, there's consequence for every action when you have children. A parent today, if we want to be honest, this has to be more than a 12-hour shift. This has to be a lifetime where you, unfortunately, and there are some little video shorts that's one particular black woman that's frustrated and don't want to be a parent no more. That's how it should be extraneous, where it makes you want to quit. And really, if you're really doing your job or the Lord's work, it should make it to a point where you work days you're going to get frustrated. Some days you want to get and quit. But notice you can't quit because your future offspring, your prodigy, needs you. And expected that you try to get the best out of them. But most parents say are very lazy. And I see somebody in the chat room. Very lazy. Now, Robbie, you in the building. Tell me from your own experience, if I'm right or wrong, the average parent today is very lazy. Because, Robbie, you're a different woman. You have a different consciousness. So I don't know if you can relate to what I'm saying. I'm hoping to hear from feedback. Let's keep listening. Fair use.
And television doesn't represent our needs. And so a lot of the confusion has come, from outside agencies that we have not recognized just how detrimental it has been to us as a people.
Can I play devil's?
And before she played devil's advocate, she's right about the boys. If you're a mother and you're not really balancing and putting enough males, or even let the father be an involved parent, your sons will carry on those tendencies. And I'm not sure why this is such an issue now when it comes to women to understand. If your son stays and has been raised and groomed from you from 0 to 18, rather by choice and all stuff, there's going to be effects, aberrant effects. Your son's going to develop. Certain habits they're going to develop because they're learning how to function as a human being. And what better way but being around someone that they're around majority of their infant / toddler / young adult to almost adults. What product it produced being around, let's say, your mother from 0 to maybe over 18 years old? Is it producing anything of masculinity or manhood, or is it producing some little sissy that's too emotional and will attack you because he only reverts to feelings, to his emotions? I'll tell you this, ladies, and I'm going to tell you this one time, maybe multiple times. Men are not supposed to be in this earth to be feeling emotional feelings. they're supposed to be thinking and moving with logic and common sense. God willing. Hopefully. Hopefully. But anyway, let's keep going.
Advocate for just a
Well, I
moment.
wish you wouldn't, but I know you must. Go on.
What if I am a good wife? His home is clean. His kids are fed. I'm making sure they're well educated. I help them with their homework. I'm a good lover in bed. I help him with the finances. And I say, look at that. He still took a walk.
Well, that's something else that's been confused about my book. I advise black men and black women. I certainly tell men that if you are with a woman who you have been with for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 6 months, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and that woman refuses to cooperate with your ideas, does not want to get with your program of right, whatever it is, then I tell those men, get rid of that woman and get another one. And I tell black women the same thing. If you are with a man that you cannot be in agreement with, then get rid of him and get with a man that you can be in agreement with.
And and we have some other sexual things that are going on. Life, everything is a trend. Okay? And we jump on trends because we don't have no self, and so we can mimic everybody. That's why we do so good in all of them pictures. Will Smith was Muhammad Ali. Jamie Foxx was Ray Charles. We can turn into anybody because there's nothing in there for us to hold on to as a base. Okay? That lack of knowledge of self, God and the devil, has left us, we're just blind, deaf, and dumb in a sense. Not dumb like stupid. We the smartest people here. But dumb and not being able to speak or hear or talk about things that make sense and are good plans. Okay? And right now, in looking on the internet, you have adult black women shaking their naked behinds to the camera. Okay?
Oh, wait. They're shaking? Wait. Shahrazad, you saying that these women are shaking it? So that means more than likely they have been on the... Let's continue.
Kind of desperation that we have for the black man who we say we can't get along with. Okay? But everything that we do is to attract you. However we dress, however raunchy, whatever it is to attract you. Okay? Whatever kind of makeup, hair, long hair, fingernails, anything artificial that we add to ourselves is because of our low self-esteem and low value for ourselves, and we think we have to have something made by somebody else to adorn ourselves with to get your attention. It all leads back to you. God is a man. All right? Everything leads back to you, even if we're fighting you. Okay? We want y'all way more than you want us. You all don't. We make it seem like it's the opposite way. Okay? But the desperation that we live in because of our loneliness and not being able to mate, even intellectually.
From what I understand, you spoke to Kevin.
Now, before she get to the Kevin Sands part, which everybody, especially a lot of men in a lot of sectors in space that have an issue. What's good, positive vibe? Wait. Positive vibe. Did you said you want to see the... Is that what you want? Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, the carousel. Obviously, yes. And, for those that understand, for a lot of women that spin and they want to move on or even go as far as explore their options. They want to, how can you say? They want to, situationships or have entanglements. Jada Pinkett Smith. And, well, and mind you, I'm not sure I'm going to cover Jada Pinkett Smith. I might do a poll on that. I'm still contemplating. But listen, people, you already know that Jada, she's always, and she tells Will in her face every day that you were, not my first choice. You were like, I had to fall back on somebody. But really, truly, I want to be and want to ride that That's what she wants. She wants to ride the carousel. And trust me, the carousel and the streets are calling Jada. But it's not the subject. But let's keep moving forward because I don't want to be here all night. Yeah. So let's hear this part with her take on KS, the one only Kevin Samuels. Fair use, fair use.
And he acknowledged your work as being an inspiration for his views about relationships in our community, right? Did you agree with Kevin Samuels' approach?
No, I didn't agree with Kevin Samuels. He agreed with me. And he was always so respectful to me. And we were getting ready to do something though. We were going to do a big thing in Atlanta. And then he went and died. So I guess he was always so respectful to me. And we were getting ready to do something though. We were going to do a big thing in Atlanta. And then he went and died. 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 So
You know, I'm not sure why a lot of men got caught up. And let's be clear, gentlemen. In some cases, in the world you live in, a lot of black women are not gonna like you. You know, a lot of black women are not gonna respect you. She said early on the other video back in 1991 that you are not deemed of anything respectfulness. You're not, because of how the system is structured and how they view you, are looked as less than. You are the personifications of evil. You are the devil. And last time I checked, most people don't respect and like the devil. Well, maybe non-black people might worship the devil, but when it comes to black folks, we don't like evil. We don't even like the devil. Hell, you hear him chatting nonsense, chatting some spells. Listen, I got positive vibes in the building. She's still here. She's Haitian descent. She know how it is with certain island people. They use they use voodoo and stuff. Some black art, some black witchcraft to chase away the evil in people, the demons and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. We don't like the devil. That's how our mindset is. That's how we think. That's how we operate. Real talk. Anyway, let's keep going.
I guess that wasn't supposed to happen. But Kevin, the book woke him up, and it gave him the courage to discuss and address these things since I had did it and had put out the blueprint. And so he was a bit crude. I had told him I didn't think he would be successful because of how he was going about it. But he told it the way he saw it, and he was not successful. He was successful in his platform, getting hundreds of thousands of people, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 people were, tuning in to hear him and his comments. But I don't know. I'm sure it benefited some of the women because it put us in check about what we think our overrated value is. Okay? And we think we have a greater value because we think that we are in charge of sex. Okay? And most men will just about do anything or go along with anything if they think that. Well, that's changing. Okay? That is not all completely the way it was. This is the thing I wanted to mention, and I don't usually talk about this. When I say that we're living in trends, the messenger talked about when we get out of control or too savage that you live in a beast life. Okay? Our younger people, that children of the future there, are living somewhat of a beast life. Because the new trend now, and I only know about this because they put it out there in the public on the Instagram and the internet and on the Facebook and everything. One of the things that scientists say separates the humans from the animals is that humans mate face to face. Animals mate from the rear. Well, it's popular now that that's what they're all doing, mating from the rear and doing all kind of other.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you know why, my elder sister, is because, let's be honest. Here's a little secret to ladies to know. The reason why you ladies like back shot and why dudes will give you back shot? Because we don't want to see your resting ish face. You give your stink face, your resting ish face on a daily basis when you come across black men. So when a black man gets the chance to, blow your back out, mount you and all that stuff, the last thing he wants to focus and seeing that resting ish face. So he said, man, just turn around, baby. Put your face in the pillow. And get, that's it. That's what I'm saying. So I hope that answers the elder if she would come across this. Fair use.
Distasteful things and calling it sex. That's a bad sign. Okay. There's a different connection, as we all know, of face-to-face than another kind of way. People are getting hurt. They're choking each other. They're spitting in each other's mouth, doing all kind of things that would never, ever have been considered as sexual pleasure. There's something wrong in that. I don't know how long they're going to be practicing that, and they're even doing oral sex in people's anus and their behinds, all kind of stuff, crazy stuff. And I'm talking about it because we need to know, and we need to start trying to teach something differently. Okay, that's not no love. That's not no showing of love. That's something crazy, and the girls are accepting it. The young women are being choked, or somebody spitting in their mouth. All kind of insanity things, and they calling it sex. That ain't no sex. I don't know what kind of beast life that is, but that's another trend that I hope passes.
No, it will not pass. It's called 50 Shades of Grey. The bondage, that BDSM. That so-called, that book that chick that wrote about the opposite about, black men specifically and all this stuff. That's what they like. That's what they're into, man. They're into that type of stuff. I remember when Adoko made the song say they gotta eat the booty like groceries. I said, what? They were starting doing that back then. And that was like, when that song came out years ago. It was already a trend that was been going on. Now, if you're a man, there's no way in heck, if you're engaged with a nice lady, that you're just gonna sit there, just force and stick it, kiss on her and stick it. No, you're gonna do everything. So you're gonna have to really now, engage in eating her, and I mean eating her loosely, in all areas. Same with the women. You're gonna be sucking and eating in all areas, unfortunately. So, yes, it's problematic at the end. It's very problematic. Very problematic. But that's where we're at right now. The only thing that's left is messing with the animals. And, we need to go into no detail of that. It's already here, or it eventually will come, But like I said, what do I know? What I know.
Because that's taking it to such a low level. Where can it go after that?
Animals.
And how long then will generations think that that's affection?
They already know it's affection.
That's a very bad sign, I think. And that the young women think that that's natural, as I said, that they going along with this, and that the men are tiring really of them at all. They don't even want to look at them. And I'm concerned about that, and I think we all should be.
I just wanted to touch on the Kevin Samuels thing one more time. Do you believe he helped bring interest into your works with a new generation?
No, I don't think so. I think it just, it was so personally, individually critical. I don't think that ever helps. I think you have to be civilized in your asking and telling. And I don't think that that kind of overly criticism of an individual, each person individually, no, that does not help, especially publicly. As I said, we already got low self-esteem. And that don't mean build us up on some false bravado. I don't mean that. But I mean, we just have to be more gentle with each other. We are damaged creatures.
Let me reword it. I apologize. I was
man you're with is not treating you the way that you want him to, and you feel that you have put in enough time to demonstrate your commitment and your sincerity of efforts to try to make the relationship work, I don't tell people to just stay in that relationship. I'm trying to teach us that we waste a lot of time being angry with each other and being dissatisfied in relationships. Get out of it and get with one where you can be happy.
You say that the black woman would like to be a clone of the white woman.
Many of us, yes. That's unfortunate.
How do you see that?
Well, that's something that was almost accidental, I'd have to say. See, the white woman has been the only mentor that we have had of a female. We've seen her every day of our life on television, every magazine, every newspaper, every commercial. You know, it's just been her face, her body, her image, whatever it has been in front of us. And so today we have the results of that. We have black women who are trying to dye their hair blonde, who are wearing blue and green contacts in their eyes, you know, who wear tons and tons of layers of makeup, who have changed their voice, who have hair weaves so they can have flowing long hair blowing in the wind, you know, like Brooke Shields or somebody, you know. And so that's been an accident. And as a result of us doing that, we have also adopted the women's liberation movement goals of wanting to be liberated from the man and have some kind of pseudo-equality, when while that may be true of the white woman and her plight with the white man, that's not really the black woman's business, because we haven't been under the control of the black man for over 500 years. So what do we have to be liberated from him from?
But is there something wrong with trying to make yourself look better or more
well,
appealing?
It depends on what standard you're using as being the goal of looking better. You know, if we think to look better is to put on a ton of makeup and have blue eyes, then there's something wrong with that. You know.
Well, I'll even go further. The lashes and makeup can be too much for a lot of sisters that are either melanin rich or not too dark. I think my thing with makeup, if I have one complaint about it, is don't overdo it. I mean, there are some days when if we have to go out, yeah, you're going to have to look your best and you're going to apply some makeup. But don't go overboard with it. That's what me with makeup. Now, in regards to contact lens and all that stuff, nothing is, when I see a lot of women, especially sisters that have blue contacts and you are jet black, it's not a good look. I'm telling you right now, sweetie, it's not really a good look. I don't know why even some wearing contacts from the beginning, but it's not a story. But I mean, color contacts. I mean, unless you were born with hazel, light brown, or some eyes, you should not be, you know, wearing blue contacts. Especially depending on your skin tone. It's not sexy. Any man that don't want to tell you anything, or they tell you what you want to hear, you gotta look at some of us dudes with a side eye. I'm just saying, but you know, you always try to keep it as natural as possible. The one thing I give credit to KS, he always said women should try to keep it as natural as possible. That's the one thing I give him credit for. But on that, you know, it is what it is. Fair use.
But if we think that to look better is to certainly get a better spirit in our heart and to work every day to become a better wife, a better mother, better friend, better sister, then those values and attributes alone will make us more beautiful than we are now.
How do you feel about the fact that many people accuse you of wanting to see the black woman at a point of submission? Is that where you want to see a black woman in the 1990s?
Well, it depends on how you define submission. Those words have a tendency to have a negative connotation for us because of how they were used against us during slavery and what we connect them to. But actually, the kind of submission that I'm referring to just means cooperation and agreement. I don't think that anybody...
See, that's one thing I like about Sister Shahrazad Ali. She doesn't really deliberate and tell you, you know, you gotta be like a what they call brute slave. In regards, what the man is asking for submission is a form of a really legit cooperation, and that's better well said. Now, everybody will say, why they don't say cooperation? Because it doesn't hit home when we use the word cooperation. Dude says submission, and they mean the word submission. What did she say? Oh, she said something too. What positive I wrote? She wrote, slanted eyes are the best. Ooh, you saying they did olive eyes, positive? Some sister that got that olive eyes, like, you know, that nice little olive shape. That's what you're talking about? Positive? Really? Is that true? Anyway. Let me put this here. Y'all know it's hard for you. But let's keep going.
Anybody could say that I represent a woman who is subjugated in any kind of way. I don't think that anybody could say that my personality sounds like some man has me somewhere crawling around on the ground or walking 10 paces behind him. So I'm not representing that. I'm representing strength. I'm saying that we have a lot of power. We have power to make heaven and hell for our men. And I'm saying, let's try making heaven. Let's try to build him up. If a man has his woman behind him, he will believe he can do anything. And all we need to do is to get our men to believe that they can do anything. And he'll be able to, do much better than he's doing now and come out of the pitiful condition he's in. As I said, I'm not exonerating him. I'm just saying that all of that strength that we have, let's use it in a more positive way instead of just going for self. Nobody told us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation and loneliness. But that's what we had to trade for that. In order to have certain kinds of success, we had to give up the man because we can't find a man who will compete with us on that level. As I said, we say he can't handle us or he's intimidated by the fact I make more money than him. I think that by judging our men on how much money he makes, we have lost a lot of good men. Because as black women, if we decide that all of us are going to just determine whether or not we're going to have a man based on how much money he makes, then won't none of us have no man.
But
because most black men don't have no money.
There are many men
Not a lot of money.
Yeah, I think some men do have money now. I mean, personally, but like I said, most of us in our communities, we don't know who has money really, unless you've been in the business long enough. Personally, I'm a proponent that in the world where resources are very scarce and money is another scarce resource, it's only going to get smaller and smaller. Personally, So what one must do, or what you ladies and gentlemen supposed to do? Well, you gotta work together somehow. That's only sure probably bet you're gonna survive in an uncertain environment. But it's really, networking and working with one another and doing your roles will only preserve survival. Now I see she right, yes, mines are a little insolent. I don't know, positive eyes. Maybe if you come back, well, actually, maybe if I drop the link, I just see you again, like see you cam up to really know that positive vibe. It's hard to tell from this little picture if you do have slanted eyes. I'm just keeping it real. It's hard to tell. Well, let's go see. Praise.
There are many men out there who don't want a woman.
That's absolutely true.
Who is not gainfully employed.
That's
just
true.
Works both ways.
And one of the things that I have always explained about that, Raven, is that for my lectures, which I do all over the country so I can give black people some ease and take some of the hysteria out of our communities that the book seems to have caused, I have security guards. Not because of black women. We're going to do just what we do. We're going to fuss and we're going to cuss or do a little something, But I have it because of black men. Because the black man's guide to understand the black woman puts the black man on point. And it reminds him what he has allowed to happen to his woman and his family. Many black men become intimidated. They don't want to take responsibility for their women. They don't want the challenge. They don't want to be put on point. So they become overwhelmed. And it's them that go off. That's why I have security. Because most men know that this book puts the black man on point. It just talks about what slavery has done to the black woman, but it's really telling him what he has allowed to happen.
Let's go back to the book for just a moment. According to you, there are 3 types of black women.
Yeah, they overlap a little bit.
Can you define that just very briefly for us?
Well, we have, I kind of number them, I think, as 1, 2, and 3, and I would...
Do you think his work brought more attention to your book? With a new generation, with a younger generation that probably didn't know about your work.
I'm not sure. See, the other thing is, remember, we're in a society where they're teaching against reading. All right, everybody either want to hear it or see it. So reading is not as popular. So I'm not sure if it worked that way. My sales have been impacted on a lot of things. That must be 50 books out called The Black Man's Guide and The Black Woman's Guide. So many people have copied, my title. So I'm not sure it worked that way. I'm still selling books, and he's still, I'm sure, there's still brothers out there now trying to take his place. So that's just, the way that turned out. He got me, I think, more attention for me, toward me as a writer. as a sister, you know. But I know my place in the world, and I am just a woman. That's not an insult. That's not a put down. But I am not a man. See, God is a man. You represent God, and I tell black women the closest you may ever get to God is being with a black man, because he looks more like you than me. And we have so many things out here affecting our respect and image of self. That's the other reason black women don't want to believe that the black man is God, because they think the black man they know ain't nothing, and that y'all ain't nothing, so there ain't no way you could be God. In fact, you have some brothers who have surrendered, and they walking around talking about the black woman as God. Some more absurd, silly nonsense
When did that
we
start?
waste our
You know, my thing with the God titles, I think it breeds some form of ego, maybe some form of narcissism. I don't know if I can. And matter of fact, let me scratch it. I'm not gonna say narcissism, because narcissism today has been used loosely, but it breeds some sense of entitlement that I'm God, so I am almighty and powerful. I am perfect. When you say that you're a God, you are the epitome of perfection in my psychology. And I refrain calling people gods. I know certain so-called people that are pro-black like to call themselves goddess, say black woman is God. Hell, some will say black man is God. I'm not really proponent to be pushing that message. I mean, I think it's foolishness. At the end of the day, I think we should push that we are people that still in a having a human experience. All this God worship stuff doesn't do us no good. All it does, it breeds sort of no, all right, let me stop. It's gonna breed some type of serious entitlement. That's all. That's all. Anyway, let's keep going.
time on.
When did that start? This notion that the black woman was God.
Well, they just have surrendered. It can't be me, because I can't do nothing. I ain't got nothing and look like she more successful or whatever. And so we just decide then she must be God. That's what a man do. I don't know no man that would decide that. And I try to correct every brother I run into about that. They think they complimenting me by saying the black woman is God. But I'm not God, and I don't want that job. Okay, I got enough to do. I don't want that responsibility, and I don't have that power.
I wanted to touch on, before we get to the last two questions, I want to touch on something you said where you said black women, they don't see much in black men, right? Mm-hmm. And from personal experience, what I noticed that even if you're, I don't know these terms they use, highly performing, even if you're just a great guy, right? Mm-hmm. They still can't see the greatness in you.
They still what?
They still struggle to see the greatness in you if you're a great person.
Well, as I said, we've been all taught against each other so hard. We have to talk more. Now, that's one thing Kevin did. He got more black men speaking out about their dissatisfaction. Well, dissatisfaction produced change. One of the changes has been more of our men are going offshore seeking other women who they say can know how to act more like a woman. All right? It's like we'll tell a man, everything you do, why don't you act like a man? When you all have never challenged our womanhood.
Now, the thing that caught my attention, like many content creators, is how she is really paying attention to detail of the actions, activities of what black men are doing. Just like most modern women. They want to say, wait, he's going overseas, looking, mating, and probably, procreating with other nations and women besides black women of America? What? And it lets you know when a black man makes his mind, his decision, he will do what is in the best interest for himself, unfortunately. And let's be honest, most black people, I like to say, are selfish. We're not thinking about the betterment of the community or where we reside, unfortunately. So, Sister Shahrazad Ali knows that black men that are the ones that got money and is very productive, that is going out the country to go find wives. And she does have a problem with it. But she knows that this was expected. And not only was expected, but let's be honest. The only reason why this gender back and forth is still going on because people want it to continue going because they profit off this. The minute most people get what they want, you're going to hear less talk about this. Matter of fact, you're going to less hear talk about certain issues about what the gender one is not doing, especially most brothers that really concerned what black women's doing. They're not going to mention her once everything is said and done. But that'll happen in time. Not automatically, but it's going to eventually happen. So when a black man is silent, you better be concerned. I'm just saying. All right, let's continue.
You all have never told us, why don't you act like a woman? It's not in you. But we'll tell you real quick, why don't you act like a man? Well, how do we know what a man act like? Most of us didn't have a father. We didn't have a model. We only saw fathers on television and in movies.
Problem. And that is right there what she said. Right there. That's the biggest problem. And like most men know that you gotta stop listening to certain women. Personally. Because anytime they said act like a man, act like a man. Chick, your father was not really alive. Hell, for all I know, your mom probably had something to do why your father was not involved. Personally. Regardless if he's able to or not. You never see the only time you understand manhood, if we want to go there, and I'm being blunt seriously, is what you see on television. Hell, matter of fact, I might just do a stream on these so-called mixed chicks, these mulatto weirdo chicks that's sitting there crapping and talking hella cash-ish on young black men and young black boys dressing up in suits. And they up here comparing men that do this to people that watch on Stars Network, Hulu, BMF, Black Mafia Family, all these stupid ass shows. Hell, they've been probably watching what do they call that show? Power, or those type of movies like Baby Boy and all that stuff. And they're comparing that and saying that is men, that is black men. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Anytime, let me tell you some gentlemen. You want to know where a woman's head's at, conscious is at? No matter her education background, ask her what she likes to watch at daytime. What TV show she like to focus on watch. If it's never some of constructiveness, some that you could grow or some that you could relate to, even to the point that they'll watch some funny movies here once a blue moon, you don't want to be screwing that because it tells you her mind, her brain is filled with gobbledygook. Yes, 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 indeed. Let's keep going.
And they gave us certain ideas that white people have that they themselves don't live up to. Okay? Their fatherhood is built on them being able to provide. And they kept you from being able to do that so that you could not have that. And that's another reason I say that we have to teach our men how to be fathers, how to deal with babies, how to change a diaper, how to do all of those things. That's your idea. So you need to be a part of how it's going to be reared and how to handle it. Many of our brothers now ending up with their children because many of our women, sometimes they have them and then after 5 or 6 years, they decide, I don't want to be no parent no more. And so they giving the child away to the father. And then sometimes the fathers are trying to get their children, and you all have a very difficult time because the enemy don't want you to be able to do that, be involved with that, because they are so used to pretending that they're on our side. They're not on our side. The white woman is not on our side because we also think that she's nicer, it's better to deal with her. That's his mother. She's not on our side.
I was going to ask.
That's his mama.
There is the idea floating around, guys. I know interracial dating for numerous reasons. So I'm not saying every black man with a white woman has views the white woman as superior. I don't want to say that. I don't know if that's the case. So I won't say that publicly, right? But there is an idea circulating that white women are nicer than black women.
Lower class, middle level, and so-called upper class, and we certainly have to acknowledge that we have those levels in our society. We see them every day. That is not a put down to recognize that we have a lower class woman who perhaps lives on the street, who is an alcoholic, a bum, who is outdoors, who is subject to abject poverty as a lack of, because of a lack of education and proper training and personal hygiene and other kinds of information. She exists, and we need to reach her and try to raise her up differently, because many of these women have children, and we have to be responsible for them. We have the mid-class women who are the number twos, and they're kind of average. They try to do better than the lower level. And then, of course, we have the number three class, which is the so-called successful, black woman who is tripping about the fact that she generally has a big job and a credit card or something,
But don't you want to see black women accomplish something?
Yes, I absolutely do. But if we can't accomplish saving our race, then we have not made an accomplishment. We are looking at our man become endangered. He's already endangered. Over 60% of us are single, widowed, separated, or divorced as of last year. And so
60% back in 1991. So what's the percentage now? Because that's now 32 years. Anybody in the chat room can know what's the percent now of the single, what the state of, relationships with black people. Again, I can't name off the head, but I think it's a little higher now. Y'all can put in the chat room. Let's keep listening.
we're not together. And there is one monolith in the black community, Raven. If we don't reproduce children, then our nation, our race is going to die out here. And so we sometimes tend to look at black men and say, yeah, they're in this bad condition, and we act like they're going to die out and we're going to live on. But that's not the way it's going to go. If the black man dies, all of us are going to die, because he actually is the backbone of our nation. We can't produce a baby by ourselves, and going into other nationalities still just erases, our nation. And I'm trying to get us not to do that.
You have.
My wonderful sister, I commend you. I understand the frustration. I feel you. I really do. But that's, far past us now, 32 years later. Because I remember doing a stream on this months ago, or actually almost now, a year ago now. In regards where the extra, now, I think now 2 million babies that's coming from our race. Every other race of men has more children than their set of women. When it comes to black folks, black men generally, here in America especially, women actually have more children than us. And they're not having children more than just the small percent of the black men that's really the ones that they choose, that's very less unproductive on the average and are easily controlled. They're having children by other nations of men as well. And that's something that if you didn't know Shahrazad Ali, you probably might know now. And if you don't know, and if someone reach out to you, you always could go and what do you call it? Probably link me and probably share the video if I still have it on here. Anyway, let me see what positive I wrote. 70%. Okay, now 7%. Okay, thank you. Let's keep going.
Problems with interracial marriages.
Yeah, I'm not for that. Well, because of the fact that I think that God made a male and female of every nationality so that they could mate and reproduce. And I think in our particular case, a lot of us try to run to what I call race denial by trying to marry into other nationalities to try to get away from our own heritage. Many black women do that, and certainly many black men do that. So I'm trying to get them to get back together and stop trying to marry and go into other races and infiltrate them with some of the nonsense that we bring as a result of our sad slavery history.
What if a woman says to you, well, I was alone, and he came to me at a very vulnerable point in my life, whether he's Hispanic or from the Middle East, or he's
Caucasian,
white, and Caucasian, doesn't matter. And she just says, he came to me at a very vulnerable point in my life, Shahrazad, and he's good to me, and he takes care of me.
It's not necessary for people to confess to me. I tell people all the time, I'm not taking a poll. This book is about self-examination and personal development. And if after reading this book, she thinks that she is still in the right place, then I don't have any control over that. I'm not out here as a judge. As I said, I haven't set myself up to say I'm the perfect black woman. Everyone should be about me. I have the same problems that all the rest of y'all got. I'm just trying to work with it, and this book is so brutally honest. We've never had anybody just straight talk to us about our personal problems, what happens inside the black home after the door is closed. And we have had a tendency to think that it's some kind of secret, that nobody recognizes, that we don't get along. And we tend to think that somebody is going to pick this book up from some other nationality and think that all black women are like the women that I describe in this book. That's totally impossible, because the things that I describe are visible and they're audible. You can see them or you can hear them. So nobody's going to mistakenly think you do these things if they don't see them or hear them coming out of your mouth or out of your actions. You know, so there's no danger of people thinking that all of us do this.
Shahrazad.
Ooh. And not only that, she was really brutally honest. Like, severely honest about this community in regards to the eyes of black men and black women. And that's what got her a lot of heat for the last 30-something years. Oh, yeah, even y'all know there are content creators that are, called Black Men Being Brutally Honest. Hope y'all are aware of this, right? And now that the black woman was being brutally honest, Shahrazad Ali, roughly 30 years ago, now you have black men now out here, and they do have contents, and they were explicitly telling you ladies that they're gonna be brutally honest with you about reality and stuff, and give you a reason why. And that's where the anger, well, a lot of sisters don't like. They hate when the black man comes here and tells them the actual truth. I tell you many times, men know where their place is in the ranking and where they stand in society and in the world. You ladies do not. And it hurts you when a lot of men, especially black men, that's creating the so-called podcast or even going in front of real people telling the real truth about and your, shortcomings for a reason. Let's look at the chat room. If he is the backbone, should he be the one to save the community, not the black woman? That's very much an interesting question. The answer is simple. Black man is going to do what is the best interest. If he has no control, what you hear what the black man is stating today, and you heard this enough times positive, I've been hearing this, whether I agree or not, they're just going to let the community stand and, stagnate. And eventually maybe it'll implode and collapse on its own. Men don't want to be police anything that they don't have no control over. You heard this countless positive. And the man doesn't have no say-so, no control. He's gonna leave the people that think they know better to their own device. And it's sad for me to say that, but that's the way it's going. That's the way it is. Now, hustle and muscle roads. Positive vibes. Exactly. But unfortunately, our black women don't want to follow the leadership of a black man, I think. How do you save a community that doesn't want to follow your lead? Who knows? Fair use. Fair use. And support channel, guys. I know y'all guys watch. Come on, throw some coins in this, man. Donate to the channel, man. Don't leave Chaos Reign hanging. I would love and appreciate it. Everything goes to the channel and other things. Fair use.
There are a lot of women out there who think you don't like us, you don't like black women.
Oh, yes, I do. I love black women. I'm a black woman myself, and I got 5 daughters and 4 sisters, so that would, be ridiculous of anybody to assume that. As I said, we have just never had anybody challenge us on our behavior. We've never had anybody to say, well, let's look at what we do. We know what he does, and he's wrong in a lot of what he does. But his wrongness, his guilt, does not ensure our innocence. We have a share in the problems that we have in the black community. And just because we are dressed up and have a job does not mean that we don't practice some aberrant behaviors that end up infecting our homes and breaking up our relationships with our men and helping to hold him down. That's all I'm saying. So everyone can look at themselves. Every man can look at his own woman. This book has brought a lot of people together. This book has reunited a lot of couples who now understand what happened in their relationship. It's required reading in 15 historically black colleges and 10 white colleges. Everyone must study what slavery did to the black woman. We have never looked at it as an independent study.
May I ask you, on what do you base your information?
Just research. Being a black woman myself, living here in the country, and I interviewed over 3,000 people. I interviewed 379 black men who were married to or dating white women, over 100 black women who were married to or dating white men, and a little over 2,000 black men and over 1,000 black women. And what I found is that we don't have a control group. There was no point in me listing all of their names because we don't have one set of Negroes that we could point at and say, okay, well, this particular group is not affected by slavery. All of us are affected by it. We just have not been able to identify the manifestation of that behavior and be able to trace it back to what the root was and how we got that way. A lot of the behavior we practice because it's trendy, it's popular in this country, and so we think that that's just the thing to do.
Well, they are, because they have.
And to reiterate what she said, not only life experience, but also interviewing thousands of people. See, one thing to understand, if you're a person like Shahrazad Ali, officially born and raised in Ohio, she knows what it takes to really compile and do actual field research. And she has done field research before, like she said before, making this book. So when we read these books, we always keep in mind the motives and the intentions, and really not only qualifiers, but what background research they have done to really come to their conclusions, besides their own set for experience. And that's how it is. So she came out with something really good, and this is a really good book. I mean, I would advocate people that will read it if you don't have a keen sense of mindset. I would tell you not to read the book, but like I said, if you're curious, by all means, get a book. But let's keep listening.
Haven't gone through what we have. They don't have the history we have. Why shouldn't she be nice? I remember one time I was in New Orleans doing a program, and we came out of this restaurant, and there was a white woman sitting on the curb, middle-aged white woman, and she was begging for change and everything. I said, I'm not giving you nothing. You a white woman, you got everything at your disposal that you could have in this country, and you sitting out here begging. And I told my party, don't give her nothing. I said, y'all just need to get up and go somewhere and clean yourself up and be white, and you'll get something going, all right? If not, if one of these stupid Negroes will get with you, but you got to clean up and do better than that. I say, but so she has certainly a better opportunity. Now, lower class white woman is not going to agree with that. She thinks she's having it as hard as black people. In fact, she thinks we the reason she having it hard, all right? But it's really not like that. That white privilege that they talk about is real. That's very real. And we practice a little of it with each other on the lighter skins and the darker skins. We ate every idea they fed us. We ate it. Even though it was all against self, they taught us to want that. And we still continuing to do that now. We have learned to practice the technology they practice, and so we have distrust of each other. You're going to trick me, or I'm going to trick you. Just all kind of nonsense that we cannot dig up out of it until we give them their God back. We can't do it. It's just impossible. You can't hold on to everything that they stand for and then say you're going to make a change, because everything that they stand for is designed to destroy us.
And using our standards based on their standards, I think is also a big.
Because they're not the same. They're not the same. Your nature's not the same as his. We keep pretending that they're human and have the natural feelings of sympathy and everything. They don't have none of that. It's not in them. You have it in you. Nobody never saved nobody but you. And you have been beat down so discouraged that it's very difficult. But I want you to know that you will be the winner. You are the original man. God didn't make everybody and then make you. He made you first, and everybody was modeled after you on some level. Okay? That's real talk. That ain't to soothe your ego. These are actual facts that if we could get our men to understand and accept. And I know it don't look like it now. I know some of the guys in the gutter. I know some of them in prison. Some of them on drugs. Some of them out here acting ignorant. Some of them pretending to be a woman. But that does not change the foundation of who you are and who made you, who is on your side, and who will pay the enemy back for what he has done to us.
You were saying that.
All right. Make sure you guys hit the like button, share stream. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Deidre, what's up, man? If you want, Deidre, you want to come up and give your take, because, like I said, you are in the field, like many people. You know, if you want me to drop a link for you to come up, just let me know, Deidre. Press one or say, yeah, you want to come up, just let me know, and I'll drop a link for you. All right. But let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going.
One of the greatest threats to black women is loneliness.
Yes.
Right? Can you elaborate on that more?
Well, once again, you paraphrasing me, but yes.
Paraphrase it.
Because, I tell you, I have to say that.
Paraphrase
because people go around saying I said all kind of things. And I didn't say that, but it was something similar to that, okay? Yeah. Well, because we can survive without a man. We do. All the time, all over the country, for years. We can survive without sexual intimacy. We can survive. We can make it, all right? But we're not satisfied, okay? I'm not going to say happy, because the word happy is not in the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, so it can't be that important. They've made it important to us because we spend money for happiness, all right? And we think it's everybody pick out what they want to have happiness, all right?
You know, that was very interesting. She said about the happiness part. I remember when they create the vows to people that's getting married, death do us part, sickness and health and all this. It never baffled me because I'm not really avid reader of the Bible. I'm not sure if anybody has read the Bible from front to back, or has even go as far as if we have some people that's part of the Muslim faith read the Quran. It makes me wonder, why they never express happiness in any of their notes, their lectures, not lectures, but like notes, or any parts, a paragraph from each part of the Bible or the Quran in certain sections. And maybe because people must get beyond feelings. It's good if you're happy, but not every time life is going to bring you happiness. There are days you're going to be sorry, you're going to be sad, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be mad. All these feelings makes you what we call today a human being. Well, all these different emotions, I mean, you'd be incomplete. Personally, And I said all other forms of life feels what humans feel, but we're very unique. We're very special. We show emotions. We can cry, get angry, happy, and and we show it through facial gestures. Some people show it through the emojis. Hell, some people show it in front of a person with their actions. These are things that encompass and creates what we call the human being. Without these set of things that makes us unique, we probably will fall mostly like the animals, most likely. And like I said again, animals might have these same components like humans being, but it's not really the same because we express them differently. And we show it not only in expression, but also in action as well. So just keep that in mind. Fair use.
But as I said, peace is the number one thing that creates happiness and allows all of the other things to grow and happen. But we're very lonely because of our men being so discouraged right now. Okay? Some of our best brothers are in prison. Okay? They get a different education there. And we are struggling, of course, with the mental health issues that has been forced on you by living in a hostile environment your entire life. Okay? A personal rejection is very, very, that's hard to handle over the years, Many of you have been rejected by your father. Some of you have been rejected even by your mother and the entire society. That's very hard, and we don't consider that. Now, I know right now it looks like we're having a harder time, but we ain't never had as hard a time as you because the enemy has always tried to take your place and make you look inadequate by giving us everything we need for us and our children to survive. So I looked at the television the other night, and that new guy, that Swarmer Harmon, whatever his name is, that's running in the election, a Republican, he said that many of our women keep the man out of the home so that we can get certain benefits. I'm paraphrasing him, but that's what he said. And that is such a great lie. It was the white man's idea to put y'all out of the house. It wasn't our idea. We tried to keep you in there. We would hide you under the bed, in the closet, anywhere. We weren't trying to separate from you. Plus, if you got a whole project area with a lot of women and children, where did they think them children came from? Okay, there's some men in and out there some kind of way. So, this is a lie that they perpetrating. Now they're going to turn it back on us. This is how it's done. All right. The entire objective is to keep you and me apart. Whatever the risk is, whatever the cost is, they would rather deal with that than allow us to get together. When I was young, they used to say that mafia stood for Mothers and Fathers in Association. I don't know if that's true, but it makes sense. All right. Because you can always do better with a helpmate. You can do better with peace. All right? That's the greatest inspiration. All right? I know how it affects myself. As I've written books over the years, I couldn't do them if anything else was going on.
Man for anything.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let me bring Deidre up. Oh, Deidre. Kimmy.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good. This.
I see a lot of people. I've been doing content on Shahrazad Ali, what Shahrazad Ali, and people calling her the mother of the manosphere per se.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's a very, very controversial person. I don't agree with everything she says, but I do agree with a lot of what she said. I've followed her for a long time, I would say, and she speaks a lot of truth, man. And you got to understand, when people speak the truth, everybody's not going to receive that truth, for whatever reasons. And she's been viewed as a controversial figure. I mean, I've seen people call her the original pick me, or original man, all kinds of derogatory, offensive language being used towards her. I don't think she deserves that. I think, by her being an elder by default, we should show her respect, whether you agree or disagree with what she says. But I mean, she speaks a lot of truth, man, and you can't get past that. You got to respect that.
One thing in regards putting the lens and the fingers back at certain genders. In your opinion, Deidre, do you think that women should be the ones that, if they're going to talk about the shortcomings, it should be in regards to women, should be ones to be covering it, rather verbally or in books, about the shortcomings, to hold some form of accountability?
Well, I'm not for all the finger pointing, and I do think that women are willing to listen to the critiques of women as opposed to men by default. Even though there are rare exceptions, and I'm going to say Kevin Samuels was a rare exception of a person that women gravitated to, and regardless of people criticism of his style of communication with him, a lot of women listen to Kevin Samuels. A lot of people listen to Steve Harvey. A lot of women listen to Derek Jackson, and any relationship type person. Whether you are critical of them or not, if you speak a message that they agree or they gravitate to, they'll support you. So, for her in a situation, a lot of women don't like her per se. From most women that I know, particularly that are not Muslim, every Muslim woman that I've ever ran into love Ali. But Christian women that are not of the Muslim faith are part of the NOI, or they really don't care a lot for her. They think that because she has said some crazy stuff, man. She has said some stuff about women, what women should do, that I think is a little bit off per se. But you know, I'm looking at the totality of her work. I think she, you know, was more of a positive than a negative, in my position. And she's speaking a lot about, you know, us and the historical context of how we got here, the psychological effects of why we do the certain things. She lastly, before you stopped, that she talked about the myth about black women kicking black men out the household. And I think that as a community, and even in this space, we need to talk about, and even though they do talk about policy, but they kind of go too much into this stuff about the Kerner report and the Moningham report and all this other different stuff. But there's a lot of legislation after that to me was way more critical and had a bigger effect on our community than those two things. We talking about RICO laws. We talking about the prison, the pipeline thing, the crime bill, the 90, what I think it was 92 crime bill that was passed. There's a lot of things.
I think
How we're
actually, I think it was 94. It's actually
yeah,
94.
94. I'm sorry, the 94 crime bill. Things of that sort. There's a lot of other things. When we look at, to me, on a state level, as far as um the women in our community being eligible for benefits and different things, that if a man was in that same position, he would have difficulty getting those benefits. A single father, which does exist, even though it's not, it's not, because it's not put on TV and glorified, doesn't mean it don't exist, because there are single fathers and there are some very, very good single fathers. And the research does show, even though it's a small sample size, that a lot of kids fare better with a single father than a single mother. Not to say that that's the best position you would want your children to be in, because you want them to have both their parents. So we can't deny that. But there is other factors and other dynamics that has contributed to the failure of our community. And what I get disappointed at and heated at it sometimes is that people just think that the problems that have occurred between black men and black women just naturally came about without any intervention from outside forces. And I think that we need more of a healthy um, conversation about the things in this society that contribute to the separation of black men and black women. And it's not talked about enough. It's more about who's doing what, but we're not talking about the influences that contributed to why people are responding and engaging in certain behaviors. Because there are outside forces that they benefit from us not being totally together the way we should be. So, I think that is that should be the main topic, but it's not, unfortunately. I mean, I talk about it in real life and online, with people in our community, and we're trying to be solution orientated. But for the most part, that discussion is not had amongst the average person in the black community. And they're talking about all kind of other unproductive shit that doesn't really matter, and things that entertain you, per se, and not the real stuff. So, um, yeah, I'm glad you actually, because I actually remember, man, I was a kid when she did this interview. That you're showing right here. This was like in the
This was 1991, so roughly you would have been, roughly, if my map suits me,
yeah,
you've been like a
15.
teenager, like
Yeah, I was like 14,
14
15.
years of age at the time.
Yeah, and that's actually when I first I saw her on a talk show. She was actually on
Phil Donahue.
it was
Oh,
either Phil Donahue, but she also was on Shirley Raphael, whatever. She was on her show too. I saw her
Okay.
on that show too, and because you know at the time Phil Donahue was the only one that would actually do these controversial. That's how I learned about who Farrakhan was through Phil Donahue. He was on Phil Donahue's show, and you know I learned about Farrakhan. Then I actually learned about Farrakhan from an older cousin of mine that actually you know eventually uh, you know he became Muslim. Um, when I was a freshman in high school. You know, he was a senior. But I mean, like I said, man, I'm surprised, and I don't know. Like, I haven't followed her since college, and shit. I ain't been in college since in 20 years, over 20 years. But you know, I followed her a little bit in college, and I kind of branched off into other things. But um, I would have liked if she would have written more. I'm not aware if she did or not, but if she may have had more works, more books or whatever. Um, I'm not. I stopped following her around 19, 20 years old. But the book that she presented, I did read that book years ago, long time ago. I was like 18, so it was like that was like 1995, 96. You know, so you know, that's just where we at. You know, this is kind of where she's at this point, looking, you know, almost 30 years or more down the line. You know, this is, you know, we can still reflect on the truth that she spoke, even to this day.
Um, you know, it's funny. When I got this book, I got this book roughly 2 years ago. I always wrote dates when I purchase new books, and it's ironic. This marked like maybe 20 some years or 30 some years. When I eventually mentioned I got the book, I've been hearing about the book for the last over a decade or more. I never came around it until recently. But um, my thing with Shahrazad Ali, as any elder woman, is she had a perspective. She saw a problem. She seeked it out and really put the problem at a more bigger lens where we look through the microscope of things.
Right.
And she said it herself, not only from experience, but she has interviewed thousands of people before completing this book.
Right.
So she not only reflected on her own experience, but she did field research, which a lot of people don't understand. Certain scholars that they'll tell you the backgrounds of what got them into really going about compiling most of their books.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might not see a reference in the end of this book where she document what she knows. Only time you will know is what she tells you if you ask her the question in live air or in person. And personally, honest, this is the only book in this form in this nation. I mean, not a nation in this form where it really gives a real in-depth analysis. And I can see why it's such touching and it's such triggering, even to the point with the part where she talked about the slap, which she's gonna talk about eventually in this video. I think most people don't like is the pointing fingers of black women and their views of why they should be held accountable in this society, in the system. And I say you need to, because if you do not hold no form of account of yourself or other women that can do it for you, it's going to breed a sense of entitlement, a greater ego, or some other forms of mental disorders. You get me? That you're going to move and operate where you think that because you're said woman, you're exempt from any form of ill will or consequence of your own actions. Even to the point your children can be a reflection of what you do, your consequence as a woman overall.
Right.
And do what's necessary. Nothing has to be perfect, but if you put in the work and do what's necessary, not only yourself, but you put your children in the best position in all areas, you have no complaints. But if your children comes out bad, and then you want to go blame the father, rather he's still involved, whatever case maybe you and him is relationship, it's not good enough. You get me? I
Right.
never what happened. I don't know if I had this conversation with you, might have, but and I'm not gonna just devolve it here. But I let you know that as ladies, you have a bigger responsibility once these children you give forth. You have to put the priorities more. You get me? I mean,
Right.
think about this, Steve Route. You and me coming up, our parents that are involved enough, but are still married, which most of them still are, there's a point where, you know, they teach certain things to the boys and girls, basics, right? But as you know, certain generations don't really teach us now, and to the point now we, as society, as people now, we are almost like the European people. We're at a point they don't take showers often. They don't do certain things, cleanliness. These little things that it says are problematic, we are now doing. This is very foreign to us for the last 30 or 40 more years. Now we look at in the 21st century, this is a common thing. Find young black boys and girls that become adults don't know the base of hygiene or other things. You get me? And we're the most cleanest people out here, which I was very shocked. You get me? But I think about, if you're not being taught this back at home, all you do as a young person or a young child that's becoming in adulthood, you're being maintained but not being actually structured and being taught at all. It's now from a laziness that most parents, they have you, they just put you aside, let the TV teach you about the world, let the school system teach you, and then once you get adult, they set you out the world if you come out the household to figure out. And that's not good enough. Because now you train people that some people don't even respect. You know, we could talk about how people look and hygiene all day, but we gotta look at, this is a learned behavior. If you have to sit and learn this from outside your household, someone has failed. Personally, if we're talking about black people generally, I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it real. But for her to bring that forefront in that other video, what she discovered, it's shameful, very shameful. That means when certain children become adults, and I say this bestly, personally, if you're going to do this by yourself as a woman, don't complain about the outcomes if your children come out the way you don't want it, unless it serves you. Your children should not serve you. You should be producing the best quality human being that will be useful for the nation, for other people, not for yourself. That's selfish, Diderot.
Right.
If you groom your child just for the benefit for you, so you have something that you don't be lonely and all stuff, you're selfish, and you did your child a disservice. That's not your mission as a woman. Once you give 4 children in the world, your children should be mean better, have more of a purpose. You know, you teach them the basics, you know, and do the best you can. That's why we look at when they complain about the young black boys that become men. I say, why are you complaining? You like the way it is because you're not doing what's necessary. You hear these dudes complain about other groups of women. Regardless, they have the system that protect them in place, but still, and then as a parent yourself, you have to do what's necessary so your children come out the best possible. You get me?
Right.
Because they're not gonna care about your children if you give them to them. Matter of fact, they anticipate that you don't teach your children the necessary, the things they needed. You know what I'm saying? The basics and stuff. So when you send them to the wolves, they can eat them easy. Because that's less competition, especially when it comes to the boys. The more adequate, the more de-evolved, the, you know, whatever you want to call it, the boy is, the better they can easily take advantage and, you know, use your son to their benefit. And once they're done, they throw them in the trash like everybody else. So that's my thing with it, you know. Yeah. But let me run. Yeah,
I get it. Okay.
Yeah, you get it. Yeah, all right.
Briefly,
I fought
what?
him for lying.
For lying?
Yes.
About?
All kinds of things. He won't tell us the truth about his life because he knows that we can't handle the truth. And so he will lie to us about his activities and his life because it preserves the peace for him, he thinks. But we know that lies don't build a relationship. They create doubt, suspicion, and fear. And then we exhibit those behavior traits. And fear in the female is always translated as hostility. And so, see, it's a locked-in circle that I'm trying to get us to look at, how these things are connected and what they produce. A lot of the anger and frustration we have at each other is really not even at each other. It's about our conditions. It's about something that's almost been genetically sent down through our womb because our men were not able to protect us. They were not able to keep the slave master from snatching our babies out of our womb, to allow us to have food or clothing. A lot of different kinds of things that happen to us that just make us tremble. They make us frightened. And so now it's to a point where everything that the man does, we have our total emotional balance, our self-esteem, our self-respect, everything that we stand for as a female, we have it tied right now to our men's genitals. And it depends on what he does with those about whether or not
let's
we
talk
happy.
about that for just a moment.
See, this is an intense topic.
Yes,
I just
this
never
is.
get a chance to explain
One thing that I read over and over again in your book was
I know what that is.
regarding infidelity. And let me just make this here. You say in your book, there is no history of the black man settling down with one woman
Right.
and never desiring to have another before
Right.
slavery, during slavery, or after slavery.
That's
The black
just the
man
truth.
has never been recorded to have just one woman.
Right. Well, I think there's some actual facts we can look at on that. Monogamy has failed for the white man in America.
But this is like saying it's okay.
It's not me saying it's okay. This is how they're living. I'm giving you the history of what their life is. Black men haven't been waiting on me to tell them it's all right to have more than one woman. Neither have white men. You know, this is just what they do. I'm not talking about fornication and adultery. I'm not talking about one-night stands and running around rampant with other women. That's not the kinds of when I say more than one woman relationship. I mean that before we came to America, our men had more than one wife and family. And we were satisfied with it because we had not met the monogamy idea. We had not met the American white woman who, you know, insists on certain kinds of values in her man. We had not learned envy and jealousy. All right, after coming here, those kinds of ideas were bred into us because of society and the mores that the Americans made up here. And so then we started to have problems with that. But I think that since it is apparent that most of them, not all of them, it's certainly up to the man, do love more than one woman. I got tons of mail. A lot of black men write and tell me that they have had two women for 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, and they can't even get the women to speak to each other. Sometimes they have two families,
Would I
two
want
sets of
to,
children.
but Shahrazad, would I want to talk to a woman who's sharing perhaps the bed and the money and the social life with who I would deem as my man?
If you want to deal in reality, and if you are not insecure, and if you don't think that that robs you of something, you would want to know them. If he loves her, you certainly should want to know her.
There are a lot of black women out there who say,
Oh, I know
"Sister,
they're mad about that idea. I understand, you know.
That
And
would
that's
never
not
hold
easy.
water.
Wait a minute, that's not easy. And that's a frightening thought to most of us. And I don't like that. I'm not for that. I'm in agreement with everybody else. Our men ought to just have one woman. But that is not the reality. I'm trying to get us to deal with some reality for a change. Stop dealing with fantasy. Stop dealing with television. Stop dealing with imagination of how we wish things were. Let's deal with them how they are, what it is, present tense. And
but
if we
because
deal
that's
with that,
happening
then,
doesn't mean I have to like that or
no,
want
that
to
means
accept
that you can live in hell. That means you can live in doubt. That means that you can always be checking on your man. That means that you can be insecure and be, you know, tearful. And that means you can be disappointed when you find out the real truth. And you don't want to have that in your life. None of us do. But in order not to have that, then we have to deal with some reality and recognize that men are not limited in the way that women are. Men are able to love more than one woman. I'm not talking about, as I said, just a random sexual relationship of fornication and adultery and all of that. I mean that there are many black men who have children by more than one woman. What is to become of those children? They need their father.
Now,
I was waiting to.
Why he laughing, man?
Fat meat ain't greasy, you know. Basically, and what she's saying is 100% truth because what's her name? Diane Williams. She wrote a book a couple of years ago called Black Women, Black Love. Said the exact same thing. She said that monogamy and the nuclear family was forced on the former slaves by the North. It's in her book, and she documents that. So what she said is 100% true. It's been documented. Diane Williams went through the whole book saying the exact same thing. And
Yeah.
there's tons and tons of stories about grandpa, you know, about grandpa having more than one, a family or two on the other side of town, and have more than one family, and grandma having more babies by more than one man. Same pattern that was in the slave farm, and it's just in in emancipation, through Jim Crow, and still carries on today. This shit ain't changed. It ain't changed. So that's the pattern. What she's saying instead of trying to, live up to a white standard, okay, either we're going to do it or not, but stop trying to hide it, because we mouth it, but we don't practice it. Even today.
Go ahead, finish.
Even today, basically, with almost 70% of women, black women, have more than one child, have it by more than one man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's lots of men that have children by multiple women.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
And that's just a pattern. So what are you gonna do?
But it's funny. BGS, they're not really down with it, but they sure are down with what they call polygamy, and try and force black men to say, you're gonna accept me having more than one dude, for every little thing, for a bill, for this, that, and third, and they try and condition these boys to be men.
I was listening to Samantha. I was listening to Samantha Coker, who's a divester, right? And she, whatever got into beating her body, she was pissed off, right? And she said the same thing I'm saying. Black women need to stop lying. Okay, stop lying. I knew way too many black women, like thousands of them, see them do this shit on a regular basis. And that's why when I have my women's channel, what I call them out. Come on, baby, come on, stop lying. Tell me the truth, because they know I know. Stop lying. Tell the truth. You have to deal with it, and if you want to fix it, fix it. If not, just stop lying, and then when people ain't looking, doing something else. That's what I'm getting tired of. You see, this is 30 years ago. Because I remember reading her book, when it first came out, because I was trying to solve the problems that I had with the mother of my children, right? Because it had these kind of bullshit issues. I was trying to figure out, is there an answer to figure out what was wrong, what was going on with her, and all the other bullshit that was going on with the black women. This stuff is not new. Okay? This stuff is not new. This stuff has been going on, okay, for a long time. Because I remember my grandmother. My grandmother was born in 1910. And I used to sit in, next to her bed while she tells stories. This shit is not new, man. It ain't new at all. We keep recycling the same shit over and over again. Even now, we keep recycling the same shit over and over again. Like Dr. J actually interviewed that middle school teacher, right? And you have 11-year-olds saying the exact same shit that my grandma would have said back in the 1920s. Shit has not changed. It's not changed. The stuff is not changed. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just like my grandmother, when was irritated with men in the house and fought her men and all that kind of crap. As Louisiana women tend to do. Shit ain't changed. Still doing the same shit, man. That's why I shake my head, because the women in my family, right? My brother gets upset about it. So what you upset about? So what they're doing this? I said, man, they're just women. They're just black women. They've been doing that for 200 years. They ain't gonna change. They have not changed, and that's the problem. But they get in public and lie about it. Oh well, we want to do this. We want to. Bullshit. Come on, stop. You're still doing the same shit. And all the money did was give you opportunity just to do it on your own. That's all. Frazier said it, Du Bois said it, Wilson said it. They just said it when promises I can keep. They're still saying it, man. This shit ain't changed. Okay, it ain't changed.
Yeah. I don't think it ever was going to change. It's like I said, when she had to sit there and tell that woman, say that she don't like it either, but it is what it is. She accepts reality, and most women, if really tell them honestly, they say you're not going to stomach it. But I mean, enough you can do. I mean, there's more you, less of us, and even the white man doesn't even play that monogamy stuff either.
Yeah.
But you try to uphold it to the black man. I say, good luck.
Well, a lot of this can be religious based. As we conform to Christianity, to the values of that, and the fact that historically we were not Christian, and therefore the practices of African cultures didn't reflect that, and particularly in Muslim culture and tribal religions, that was part of the culture. in European-based Christianity, that's not. And so when we conform to that and we conform to Christianity, then all of those other things follow,
Like what?
like things such as monogamy, as you just talked about,
Mm-hmm.
having one wife. That's not an African concept. That's a European concept. In the Bible itself, it speaks of men marrying multiple women multiple times, plenty of times, particularly in the Old Testament.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you go back, look at anthropology, and they looked at this. The one study they did was called the Jarawa tribe. Remember the one, the Anthony's Island, where they discovered these people, then their culture hadn't changed in like 70,000 years. Remember that? Right off the coast of India.
Yeah,
Remember that? Okay, monogamy exists in their tribe. Okay, they're a monogamous group of people, and it's been that way for a long time. And so monogamy, polygamy, and all that kind of stuff is just a balance of how you want to organize people. Because if you have polygamy and people have more than one wife, you have more men. Okay, what do the men do? How do they balance it out?
They share. If
They
there's
share a
more men and
woman.
women,
They
they
share.
share women.
It's
They have to
called
share women.
a
Yeah,
village wife. Yeah, they share a woman,
yeah,
or they
yeah.
have prostitution. You have to balance it out. So this,
right.
how do you do the balance? And really, monogamy really got more enforced when you became agrarian. So it's always been a mix. Any place you go, there's a mix. Okay, because Europeans didn't. Uh, the Europeans did not basically encourage uh, the Asians to have one wife or be monogamous or whatever. So it's always been there. It's just how you organize people. So there's been If you go to the continent right now, basically you're gonna see a mix of polygyny, polygamy, where you have more than one husband. You're gonna have a mix of where you have more than one wife. You're gonna have monogamy. You have a mix of everything. It's just how that particular group of people decide to organize people or
Yeah,
organize family.
yeah, nothing's going to be uniform,
Yeah,
where it's just going to be one for everything. There's always going to be outliers and differences depending on culture.
yeah.
But when we look at European society
Mm-hmm.
and the fact of having scarcity, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that that's basically the most infertile land as far
Mm-hmm.
as among, I mean, for that region, because it's not a real per se continent in itself, but just a region where people look a certain way. I mean, they didn't have a lot of resources, so you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't really afford or have the necessary resources to support multiple wives. But on the continent, it was fertile, and you had the resources to support having multiple families. So I mean, climate and things of that sort, and the culture that comes from the climate and things within that environment, it was more conducive to that.
No, well, then if that was the case, then you would have seen the same thing in in say like the Latin America with the natives, and then again you see a mix of things. So it depends on how the society rounds it out.
Oh, I got a question. Hello, panel. Hey,
Hey
Chaos.
there,
Hello,
how you
Lena.
doing?
How you doing? How you doing,
Pretty
Lena?
good, love the show. Hey, D-Rel. Hey, BGS.
Yay.
I just want to go back to what she was saying about monogamy
Mm-hmm.
and this poly or whatever. Does this
Mm-hmm.
include that women can step out, or is it always just the men, only the men?
Okay, this is the way Diane Williams said that black women especially like to practice it, right? Black men will deal with more than one woman at a time, right? At one time, right? Black women prefer to have what she calls serial monogamy. Okay, in other words, even in Islam they practice it. Even Fraser said that even back then, okay, black a lot of black couples were married in paper only, right? Because they would have what they call a walk-in divorce. Okay. In other words, they get married, they have a couple kids, they get pissed off at each other, and the man and woman would leave and they go find other couples. But the thing is, they would just never get a legal divorce. But they'd have more than one wife, more than one wife and more than one husband. It's very common. That was very common back then. And basically, Diane Williams, she said she actually calls it Africana Kinship Network, where they actually do that, where they are allowed to actually marry, if you want to call it marrying, have a couple kids with a man. If you don't like him, go find you another, take your kids and go find another man and another man until you settle down, which was similar to what in Africa they call a village wife. But that's what she proposes, and that basically what happened on the slave farm. When they brought the women over to breed. And that's what happened to her. She was in charge of the family. You know who the mother was, but the thing is, the father wasn't always known, and she would have multiple kids by multiple men, and that man would have multiple kids by multiple women. And while they not really try to correct it, they try to force a pattern into black people, and sometimes it took, sometimes it didn't. Most time it didn't.
Thank you.
All right, I answer your question. All right, Lena.
Mm-hmm.
Let me Any other questions,
Well,
Lena? Oh, go ahead, Lira. Yes.
now I was just gonna say, the reality is that, you know, as she stated, men are going to have multiple partners,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not going to change. That's something that will always exist.
Yeah,
And
it's not just black
women.
men either. So
No, I didn't just say. I said men. I ain't put a color to just
mm-hmm.
men in general.
Mm-hmm.
Men in general are going to explore other women, and even in outside of the context of whatever religious creed that they're following, or so forth. That's just a reality. And I do think that and women also will do things too. And I just think that if I think relationships, as far as how we approach relationships, should be redefined in a sense of us understanding, if I'm with someone, these are the things that potentially happen. And we began to create an understanding among the couple that's involved with each other, what we will and will not do, and just be honest about things, and not try to live up to a standard that you're bound to break. And I think if we had that and consistently did that, and we had children grow up seeing that, and looking at that as a reality, then that would not it wouldn't be this big, as far as difference in how we perceive this. And the reason why women in this culture would not for the most part would not accept, or they refuse to accept the men cheating, or having multiple partners, because they've never been in a culture, they've never been taught that. If you look at children who grow up in polygamous or whatever type of related, cultures with their family like that, it's an acceptable and expected part of their life. They expect or accept, if they're going to marry a guy, they expect him to have multiple women or marry multiple women and so forth. It's not a conflict. It's more just part of a way of life. But that just doesn't exist in this culture. So that issue of that, as far as how it's perceived, will always exist.
You got to change the environment of your laws. You got to change the environment of your legal practices. You got to change the environment of family formation. The Mormons were doing that, when they first got here. Okay. Yeah, multiple wives. Okay. They believed in it. But the thing is that if they wanted to join the rest of the culture, which is Northern European, they had to give that up because legally, it what they did didn't mesh. But they still do it. They just don't do it in paper form.
Yeah, but the biggest thing is that it's illegal to have multiple wives. If that was not illegal, if it was made legal, and that's the issue. You can be prosecuted for having multiple marriages.
Okay. The issue is, okay, say you, since especially, if all things being equal, there are going to be more men and more women, because there's actually more men born than there are women. Okay, and say you make polygamy legal, and basically, you have a lot of guys with multiple wives. Okay, how do you balance it out with guys that don't have women or wives?
There's no such thing as balance. Balance never exists.
It's got this balance
You're always going to have undesirables. And
ba-
you're always going to always have people that won't have that.
ba-
Everybody's not going to get what they want.
it, ba-
that
balance will come sooner or later. Okay, it's going to
like
have to come.
how?
In other words, if you're going to have polygamy, okay, then you're going to have either, like I said, the village wife. You're going to have increased prostitution.
But you're assuming that everybody's going to have a wife. Everybody won't have a wife.
I didn't say have a wife. Okay, I said women. Access
Or
to women.
even if there's more women or less women, you're still going to have people without.
I know. So how do you handle the men that have to do without? And do you think they're going to just fold up and flutter away, or do you think they'll be good with it for the rest of their life, or what?
Well, the men, again, you just stated they'll have things such as prostitution and things like that,
Yeah.
which is going to exist regardless of any family foundation. Prostitution and infidelity is going to always exist. So for those men, those will be the options for them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to balance it out.
So yeah, I mean, if you want to call it balance, I guess, but or you can do like
I'm a chemist. Everything balances. It's got to. Everything balances.
or they'll go seek women and do things elsewhere in other cultures or other countries.
They can, but
I mean, those are the options. I mean,
there's a very good book and very good section in Graeber's book called about the village wife, and that's why the men would actually go steal women or kidnap women from another village or another society and bring them over here, okay, or bring them. So, which monogamy? It was forced monogamy is supposed to, for the most part, solve that problem. Where you equalize men and women and balance it out, so a lot of this flagrant stuff that would normally bubble up, like violence and cheating and all that kind of stuff, will get balanced out. Because guess what? If you got 10 wives or 5 wives and stuff like that, and shit doesn't balance, she gets pissed off. One of those guys is gonna get your wife pregnant, then you have to raise his son. That's why they have to balance it out to keep that from happening.
Interesting. Let me keep running this tape.
Well, she's saying everything that we've been talking about, that I've been talking about for the past 9 years. This is 30 years ago. Okay, it's 30 years, and then people were talking about this before she even wrote the book. She wasn't the first. She's the first to put it in a book form, or a book form in that was popular, but this stuff existed before that.
She's the first actually woman that put the microscope on the Black woman in a way that it is we see today. That every person that if we had to refer to the shortcomings or even the accountability piece of why Black women always tell us to be a man, but we don't really question about her womanhood, she actually put it in the book form, and give clear detail. So, yeah. All right, let me run this.
Pay my taxes, or if I had to go to a doctor appointment or something at the school, I could not do anything until completely everything was out of my head, everything calmed down where I was at peace, and then the ideas could come in. And creativity is like that. As I said, I know that it's like that because it just come into you and then you have to get it out of you, no matter what it is. You know, we are creative like that. We are just, as an example, the white art museums. There's nothing but nonsense in there. We know it's just pure silliness. That art they talk about as art makes no sense. Their paintings are all, if it'll be maybe exactly like something. Now they like that realism because then they don't have to create nothing. Just paint the apple and there it is, and it's already an apple there, you know. But it comes up out of you. You don't have to have that kind of inspiration. If you can get cooled out, it bothers you so long until you have to get it out. This is what creativity, this is how greatness works for us. And so many of us are so talented, so great, so wonderful. And you know, we're different. We really are. Because you can see the way many of us wear our hair, the way many of us have a certain kind of nose, the way many of us wear certain jewelry. That's all different tribes. We wasn't one tribe that came to America. And so we have those things still in us. And we try to express them, even with the long hair. And I know that's, you know, that's not the best thing we need to do is to put all that different fake stuff in our hair. But who has been the model of beauty for the black woman in America? Who has been the model for hair for the black woman in America? The white woman. So we want our hair like hers. We want to mimic that. That was our model. And we don't, we want to make it black colored hair. But then too, you know, we got slews of black women who have blonde hair, who are getting skin lightness. The self-hate we have been taught, you almost can't, how you quantify that? Okay, and the more false stuff we have on, the more we hate ourselves. That's what that shows. You even got the brothers now getting weaves and getting braids and everything. We are not making the kind of progress we think we are.
What do you say to people who always say we are making progress? People would love to say that. We're making progress. Race is no longer an issue. People are doing great.
What is no longer an issue?
People say race is no longer
Oh,
an
that's
issue.
crazy. That's ridiculous.
I know
race is
I know
no
you
longer
heard that
an
one.
issue. Race is the only issue, and everything else just is lined up after that. But I have talked with people who have a similar idea that things are so much better now. Well, it depends on what kind of equation you're setting up. If you're saying that they're not coming to our door at night, pulling us out, lynching us, they don't do that as much. They still do it. They just call it the police and that it's legal. These things are still happening. As I say, we're living in a hostile environment, and a friend of mine once told me, we're trying to normalize our captivity. We're trying to act like it's okay, I'm all right, everything's fine, I got a job, I got an apartment, I got a car, you know, I'm going on vacation, we having a family reunion. What, to celebrate your slave master's name?
That once these relationships don't work and they start breaking up or things start going bad at home, you say, she will cry and seek sympathy. During this period, the black woman will remind the black man of everything she has ever done for him.
Yeah, we do that.
She will try to make him feel guilty and ashamed of his decidedly outrageous.
Oh, and one other thing, I forgot one thing to add. I forgot to add this. To the other part that people didn't know when she's talking about, you know, it is what it is, you know, a man's gonna have more than one woman. Look what Kevin Samuels said in the one videotape. Watch now, listen.
How you men don't cheat? They exercise options, and I said it, and the wife approves of these options more often than not. Oh no, that can't be. That's just some dysfunction in our community, and it's just because of, no.
Nope.
Continue.
Nope. That's not true.
behavior.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that I forgot to add that part, but you know, I just found that. So,
Oh yeah. Man. Look at Bill Gates, Bill and Melinda Gates. How many did he have on the side that she knew about that he paid for? Yeah.
And she was cool with it, you know. And a lot of people said, well, you know, he could do it because money. No, it's because that's what she's going to accept.
When did the upper class men not have a side chick or a concubine or whatever, right?
Or even the select man to a lot of these women talk about stay with one woman. I mean, let's be honest.
It's select men or select men, depending on
Yeah,
which one. If he's physically select, then he's a concubine himself, which black guys don't like me to talk about. Okay, you're servicing. If you got 10 women, you're servicing 10 women. Okay, you don't have 10 women; they have you.
Okay. Not gonna knock that.
They get pissed off when they talk about brag about I got so many women and I got blah blah. I'll say, okay, what do you get? I said, I give you 2. What do you get from the rest of them? It's always sex. I said, when you servicing, you serving 10 women for what? For nothing?
Sex.
No. Well, they're getting sex. Okay.
Yeah, they're getting sex. Yeah.
You get it. All you getting is ego stroke. That's what you're getting.
Mm-hmm. And some dude's stupid, or someone just knowing it is comfortable with that. And I say, all right.
Yeah. Well,
so you're just but I don't know if that's the word to call it, cuck. But,
cuck.
I don't know if I want to use that. I don't want to say that. I don't think that's the right word to use. But
you're cucked if you're married. Okay. If you ain't married, you can't be a cuck if you're not married.
Okay. Well, y'all lucky. That's not the right word. So y'all just like a nice little sex slave to the chicks. And some dudes, let's be honest, they like that. Say, all I want was a bust nut on these chicks anyway. I mean, is she paying for it? Well,
that is how black. We can get into that, but that's how black men are actually socialized to see, not only see black women but also service black women, because it's not about him busting it. That's how many can he, how many women he can make their legs shake, how many women can he please. So him just busting a nut is not what he's saying. In other words, there's a reason that they keep calling me back. And who just said that? It was Master Yao said the same thing. He said black men are going to have to stop trying to get their manhood validated by black women.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's something that we could do better.
Yeah, well, we could do better. People, social culture is very, very difficult to change, and it really is. And they've been trying to change. As long as I've been alive, they've been trying to change this dynamic since the 1970s. They've been trying to change this cultural dynamic between black men and black women. They haven't been able to. It's still there. Literally, it has not changed. Okay, since I've been a kid, it literally has not changed. The only thing changed is the environment and how you move in it a little bit. But other than that, it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed at all.
Okay. All right, let's listen to more.
Let the house go, and I quote.
How much more time? I'm probably gonna go get another 25 minutes. Let's keep playing.
Quote you to hell.
That's right.
She may stop cleaning, ironing, washing, and cooking,
and we withhold sex. That's a real tool we use. We do that.
Yeah, that's a dangerous tool. Keep listening.
But if you would cheat on me or walk out on me...
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. We have to get into definition. Who told us that was cheating? Where did that idea come from that that's cheating? And I'm not saying that a lot of men are not just running around. I'm not talking about that. But if a woman finds out that her man has been with a woman while she's been with him for 3 or 4 or 5 years, that's a serious commitment and relationship. And if it hasn't taken anything from me, if I'm not going short of anything, and if this is what he thinks his responsibility is, then what kind of hell are you going to go through to prevent that? Since we cannot stop him, we have not been successful. The white woman has not been successful in stopping the white man from having another woman. They call them a mistress. We pick up a lot of that terminology.
Let's stop right there. I want women to understand this. And listen, I know black women are going to catch this if they survive the length of this stream. That they talk about you're going to be the concubine and you're comfortable being the white man's, you know what? You get me? Because you know what it is. And the reason why you will allow him, because like Mr. Carroll said, his white skin removes all imperfections and sins. You get me?
It's been passed down. Black women think they own black men. Okay, and that's the problem. That's where it comes from. Not only individually but also as a group.
And because they feel their ownership, they're entitled to say, "You are mine, all mine."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you ain't going nowhere either. Even some of them so bold. I remember there was one video. I don't know who was. I forgot who he shared. This one scene of one woman say, "I own you."
I mean, it came from out of what, Power? I think it was. Yeah.
Might be Power. Or I think it's some other TV show.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Offshoot of Power, where she's talking about that. Yeah. I said, "I own you." Yeah. And that is that is the way black women feel about black men. They have first right of refusal or ownership.
Mm-hmm. But Matt, you as a man, you're so bold. Say, "I don't want you. I'm going to refuse." They look at you funny, especially ones that's too big, like the fluffy ones. I say, well, you can't force me like you. I think one time was it female? I think female one time was sending me these tag my name on some of these chicks, and they were very much big, like mobile obese. And I say, sweetie, I look at them, say they're not tall, they're short, they're like double sized their average weight, and you're trying to push it on like this is what men are dealing with. No, they're not. A broke man is gonna be dealing with that.
She has to buy him, okay, and unless she's very wealthy, okay, then she's got to buy what her pockets can afford, and most of that time the guys that are on the outs. So, if black men do it on, if they're broke or if they don't have very much money, what kind of woman can they afford? Yeah, so nobody says anything about an ugly man using his money to get a woman.
Nope, because he has to pay to play.
He got to pay to play,
and he's cool with that. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, but he has money you will need, so obviously you're gonna come to him, you're gonna give him some little sugar, or you'll get nothing."
Yeah. And a lot of women lie about it. They lie about it, but you peek in their background. Come on, baby, you did the exact same thing. He's out of your looks class, and that's what you wanted, and you know that you couldn't get him any otherwise, so you had to pay him. They targeted. Why you think there's so many? Why you think there's so many black men that marry black women out of prison? Why do you think that is?
To be their little pet.
Yeah, they to be their companion. They can't get the companion they want any otherwise, so they'll they'll take care of them. And that's I don't even want to talk, but man, I've seen it so much.
It's a failure.
Huh?
It's a failure. It's a failure for most of them that they can't get, if they're looking for something or they can't get what they say they can get. Second thing, they're gonna have to scoop up from the dirt and say, "I need something."
At the end of the day, you have to any person, unless you of extraordinary means, have to get whatever they can get in the environment. You can't create things out of thin air. So you have to get what's there. And most times, people will adapt. They adapt by getting what's there. They're not going to be lonely for the rest of their lives. They'll adapt, and most do. Trust and believe. Ain't gonna talk about it. I've been offered. So to say that women don't pay, it's bullshit. Okay, they do.
Of course they will. I'm saying. All right, let me keep running this.
But a man who has two women, that's not necessarily a mistress. That's just his other woman. Now we got two choices. We can be the woman or the other woman. We don't have but those two. Now I know we don't like that. I don't like that. But that's the reality of our life at some point. Now it's up to the man. But every man doesn't want two women, but those that do, they're going to do it.
What about our morals and our religion?
Whose religion? Whose morals? Not our religion, because we're not practicing the religion of black people anymore. That was taken from us. We don't have our morals anymore. That was taken from us. So whose idea are you representing when you stand up for those values?
Yeah.
Not ours. Somebody else's. Some other nationality. And it may work for them. But it doesn't work for us. It hasn't worked for anybody, really, but nobody wants to deal with the truth. Monogamy was only created because of the economics of it.
Yes. Say it again.
The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman has been out for, what, over a year now?
March the 20th will be the first year anniversary. And for that anniversary, I'm releasing my new video. And the video is called The Black Man's Guide on Tour. And it is exciting.
I would assume it's pretty hot.
Yeah, it's hot, I tell you.
After writing this book, just take a moment before you answer.
Okay.
Do you regret anything about what you wrote? If you had the chance to do it all over again, would you perhaps soften some of the things that you said?
Soften.
No, that doesn't require any in-depth thought. I've been asked that a lot, of course. No, I wouldn't, because see, we always want some kind of instruction and help to come to us that doesn't affect the status quo. We want somebody to tell us some information or give us some instruction that doesn't require us to change. Okay? This book requires change. And one thing this book has done that I have really been pleased with, it has certainly reopened communications. And a lot of us as black women, because of what here seems like it's just so radical, are willing to make a lot of concessions now and cooperate a lot of other kind of ways to keep from having to do any of these things that I listed here. So I have letters from black men who just write and say, listen, thank you, my wife is cooking better meals now. I have letters from children that say, thank you, my mother quit her second job, she's home with us now at night. I have had black men walk up to me on the street in New York and reach out to shake my hand and say thank you and just burst into tears and say, thanks, hey, I thought I'd never live to see the day.
Not to jump on your case or anything here, but just to say in defense, how many of those women are afraid of an open-handed slap in the face? You've been.
All right, before we go into that, and once you answer this, I'll probably end this, guys. So I'm gonna let her answer all that, because that's one thing that a lot of women hold their head on if they read that book, which I think most of them don't read the book. They only hear about that section of the part of the book.
I read it.
Now, Shahrazad Ali explained it, and to me, this is my second time watching it, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, as a man, I don't condone any form of domestic violence as men when we try to keep our hands to each other as best possible. Hopefully.
That is the Western
But
way.
if it comes down to that, you know what I'm saying, for a reason, it is what it is.
That is the Western way of doing things. But trust what the sisters are finding out when you go to outside of the West, outside of the European West. Guess what?
Oh yeah, outside even in Caribbean islands or Africa, yeah, they don't play. They will
don't
take
play
that hand and turn you like it's no tomorrow.
Yeah,
they were playing bing bong with your face.
There's limits,
Yeah, very much on limits. So guys and ladies, listen closely to her response.
Oh, that's a terrible thing.
You have been accused of advocating violence.
No, see, that's a misconception. I'm trying to stop violence in the black community. Now, we know, Raven, that domestic violence is at an all-time high in the black community. Black men currently are kicking us, blacking our eyes, knocking our teeth out, stabbing us, shooting us. They're doing a lot of horrible things to us. All right? So what I'm trying to do is to put some direction on that. One of the problems we have is that we don't know that change happens in degrees and stages. So if we just tell our men, don't hit women, they're not going to do that any more than they're going to say no to drugs. That doesn't work in that way, just to give that kind of instruction. So let's first put some controls on it. Let's get our men to recognize that they don't have to go off and brutalize us with their fists and hit us with weapons and kick us in the stomach and hit us in the breast.
But it's okay for him to hit me with his hand?
Wait a minute. I'm saying that if I can stop black men from kicking and shooting and stabbing and stomping black women and get them to just lightly tap us in the mouth, I will have saved a lot of lives and preserved a lot of families.
Yeah, that is true.
Hey, I remember
got a point.
the so-called a nice little slap, a tap in the butt, the so-called domestic discipline, and they got mad at Kevin with the same thing. Now, Kevin not gonna say on live air that I should take my hand and knock you side the head. Never reference that. You get me? And the reason why he did, because he knows psyche and psychology of our people. But
You know what? I've been told, because you have far too many relationships with women. Okay, what I've been told is that a woman would rather take a slap across the face when she gets disrespectful rather than you packing your bags and leaving, because that's the second option.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh shit, yeah. Okay, why don't you just hit me? Why don't you just call me a bitch and hit me instead of leaving? And they don't say about the other. They don't say about the what in police reports. Guess who starts most of the shit?
I know. You know, it's women. I mean, they said a lot of men have lost their lives during this so-called bias when women conflicted. And I'm not sure women are like. I'm trying to be mindful because we try and keep our language clean. I'm not sure the women are deleting these dudes with weapons or something.
They are.
That last 40 years back in the 80s.
They've been doing that. They've been
Yeah.
what, ground up glass in the food. Knife.
Oh.
My grandmother carried a razor in her bosom in the 1920s. It ain't new. A bunch of black
Mhm.
women, black women had never, black women didn't take them butt whippings like you think they took them. Okay,
Mhm.
they say they do, but basically, basically we've gone through all the data, all going back 50 years, and guess what? At worst, maybe there's like maybe 5 to 10% more on one side or the other, depending on which year you look at. But for the most part, it's equal. Okay, it's almost 50-50, which is
Mhm.
within statistical insignificance, right? Difference is not that much. So this stuff where black men are just deleting women and putting some domestic DV on their women. Okay, it's not true. That stuff goes both ways, and they've been saying it for longest. Amongst the black families, it's bi-directional. And guess where the DV rate is even worse? Guess who has the worst DV rates out of couples?
Give us the answer. That I'm not.
Female to female.
You mean? Oh, you mean the ones that went into the same partner type? Oh yeah, I've been hearing about that. Yeah,
Same gender
is
loving
the highest?
females.
Is the
It,
highest?
it,
Is it the highest now in America?
it's double the normal rate.
Damn.
It always has been double the normal rate. But nobody talks
Hmm.
about that because
You know,
that's not popular.
they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I wonder why. I married the one chick. We all want to mention. Talking about said it's good to be with the same relationship with the other woman, but they don't bring this say being with the same sex is
Yeah.
even highly and deadly. So you tell me if we leave the opposite sex because of the violence, like they proclaim, right?
Mm-hmm.
We go into our own relationship, it's even violent. So we always know saying who's actually most part because usually violence with men, let's be honest, depending on his situation or his rational or wherever state he is usually the last resort. Most men on the average don't want to use violence first. It's always it has to be the last thing if necessary.
I remember Carib because she's from, she was born in my mother's hometown, right? And
Oh, you mean
she,
the chick, the lawyer,
the lawyer,
the
yeah.
Louisiana-
And
yeah.
we having that long discussion, and she talked about DV rates and how black men did such and such and such, and black women were such victims, right? I said, sweetie, do you recognize what the boiling water at midnight on the stove is for? She started laughing because she knew what it was for, and she knew then she shut up
Hmm.
because she knows
Hmm.
those is bi-directional. Anybody from the
She
South,
know about the too.
somebody knows from the South knows what the boiling water on the stove is about. When it's at night, it's not for cooking.
Yeah. Take that water and throw it. It'll be the last thing you ever want
No,
to imagine.
yeah. As soon as you come through the door and you spent your money, you gamble away that check. You hit that door, you
Mhm.
raise your voice. That water's coming at you. Okay.
Mhm. Just toss it in.
And men knew it. So if I've heard it many times that pops be out, a payday drinking and come home and he's with that rah-rah. So, when my mom knows he's getting ready to creep in and creep in through the back door, she fills up that pot with water and starts boiling it. And when he hears it, then he knows I need to go sober up someplace else. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, I got a trip to the hospital. That was a warning. That's what the boiling water was about. It's a
Yeah,
warning.
that's a
Anyway,
warning.
it's a warning.
Let me let
Go
me
ahead and
finish
finish it.
one. All right.
What kind of logic is that?
Well, they're not going to stop doing it completely. Now, let's deal with the reality of the statistics. 40% of our women are brutalized. So I'm trying to get the men to stop doing that to us. The Red Cross suggests the same motion, and nobody's ever jumped on them. If a person gets hysterical, you slap them in the face to bring them back around to reality. And I'm not even saying a hard slap. And let's go over that, because that's something that's confused all over the country. I'm so tired. That's the national anthem of black women. Now, at first I thought they were really upset, but I think it's been kind of a smoke screen. They're trying to use that to get black men not to read the rest of the book. Okay, this is what it says. If the black woman is brutalized repeatedly, the relationship will fail, and the black man will possibly be arrested and charged with cowardly abusing a woman. This is not the goal. Make no mistake about it. No black eyes, no punching in the stomach, the breast, no stomping, and no uppercuts. Analyzing the options available to the black man when the black woman's mouth, verbal abuse has been proven to be just as violent and harmful as physical abuse. When her mouth becomes uncontrollably disrespectful, they told only a few. He can walk away from her, leave the house, and get drunk. We know men do that. He can go to his other woman and complain. He can quit the relationship, leave the woman. He can try to argue back and lose. Nobody can out-argue us, okay? Or he can seek counseling or sympathy from friends. Now, those are the only options any man has when a woman is running off at the mouth to him. Or he can offer her a sound, open-handed slap in the mouth. That doesn't go from point A to Z. There's a lot of other options in there that our men use. I'm just describing what happens. Ordinarily, when he gets to that point 6, it's not a slap, it's a brutal hit with a fist. I'm trying to stop him from doing that to us. And I'm trying to get us to control it differently.
No kind of violence should be advocated.
Well, that's not advocating violence. The violence is already going on. I'm trying to stop it. I'm trying to put some controls on it.
Shahrazad,
and that's something that people don't understand.
You are a mother.
Yes, I have 12 children.
How would you feel if your daughter called you at 2 a.m. in the morning and said, Mom, he hit me? Now, you're a mother now. You're a mother.
Well, I'm not emotional like that. I'd have to say what happened. Put him on the extension and let me find out what happened.
Oh.
There are many women out there who would like to know, are you married?
Of course I'm married. Yeah, you know I'm with being with a man. I'm not ashamed to say I need a man. No, I need a man. I'm one of those women. I had to have a man. I am not ashamed of that. My first husband died in 1985, unfortunately, of a heart attack. And I have a new husband now. And I've given the children to him, and we're raising them. And he's a very beautiful man. He's not afraid of me. He's not intimidated by me. And he knows me, and he has read the book.
And one thing, before I continue playing, is her husband died when she turned 31 years of age in 1985. Mm-hmm. Around that same year, isn't it ironic, her first book came out, How Not to Eat Pork. Mm-hmm. So it makes me wonder, did your husband was consuming pork when it took his demise? Because usually, right? So, I mean, this we just going to speculate. We can't really say it's a confirmed answer.
Could be. What she says, her second husband encouraged her to write.
Okay.
That's what she says. That now I don't know the story about how not to eat pork, but that's been a staple in the in the Islamic world for a long time.
Yeah,
about pork.
Yeah,
I think she might have converted to Islam after her first husband died. I don't know.
Yeah, that's I don't know how. Well, she said that she saw the honor Elijah Muhammad when she was a kid.
Okay.
Back in the 70s. So I think she's been a Muslim a little longer than that. Around, let's say, during the 70s at most. And she probably might have been really full head on when she got married back in the 70s. Most like her first husband died in 85, and then she got remarried like maybe a year later or so. Mm-hmm. It really speaks for itself that I'm following the timelines when the book was compiled and released to her first husband. I said somewhat it could be related. It can't be exact, but like I said, in that book, which I don't know, I don't have, but I would say she goes in detail of not only the why, but what other byproducts of pork. So, that's another thing that, she did research. So obviously, most people that don't eat the physical pork, that's okay, but you're still eating some byproducts.
But if her husband was Nation of Islam, he didn't eat pork.
Yeah, he didn't eat the pork, but like there could be other things that are byproducts that we're not aware of, because they do follow the How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad, but no one doesn't know. Like if you buy your products from other people, you're not sure what is in it unless you know the ingredients. You get me? So, but that's a good book. If anybody gets that book, I would highly recommend for those that don't understand what is not How to Eat Pork. I would say get her first book for those that's listening to this playback. But anyway, let me wrap this playback up. Fairies.
Yeah, he is in agreement with.
And I know you guys watch and donate to the channel one time, please. All right, let's keep going.
With my campaign, and all of my sons are in agreement with this. I have 7 sons, and they are very beautiful and very talented. And it's very interesting to see how, as a result of me teaching them differently, the girls that come there, they don't run the same game on them. Like they can't come into our house with the mini skirts on. Mm-hmm. They can't come in with the skin tight clothes on.
You are Muslim, may I add that?
Oh, of course, okay. But I'm not teaching our people religion.
Okay.
They already failed that course. I wouldn't dare try to teach black people religion.
But
I'm just trying to teach them.
but does that
life.
influence the way
Well,
you
Islam
structure your
influences
pen?
everything that goes on in the black community, because that's what we were before we were brought here as slaves. So yes, it certainly has influenced my life.
Can I jump
it's
back
not a book on religion, and I don't bring it into it like that.
I want to jump back for just a moment. You said there are 3 kinds of black women. Where do you fall?
Probably somewhere, the categories overlap, probably between the 2, 3.
And how do you criticize yourself?
Well, as I said, I work every day to be a better wife, better mother, and I have not said I'm perfect. You know, I'm a victim of all of the things, just like all of the rest of us are. And I don't say that all black women do everything in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything in the book, but all of us do some of them. And every time that we do them, then it serves to break up our relationship and run our men away from us. When that's not really what we want at all. We really want him to run toward us. But sometimes we function in such a way that makes him be outside, looking for peace of mind with somebody else, because we withhold the peace because we're mad at him about something, you know. I go around trying to tell black women, if one of the things we can do for our men is just smile when we see him coming. You know, if you get with these ideas, the first thing it'll do is relax the muscles in your face. You won't be so uptight all the time.
Yes, she said this. 31. You know, I wouldn't cuss, but like I said, I want to, you know, because y'all guys not donating, so you're not gonna get no X-ray Rob chaos tonight. I will tell you this: if the men been always harping about you need to change your demeanor towards men, it would help. Relax the face. First of all, no one don't want to see nobody with a screw, ugly face every second. That's a sign of, to me, and we just could vouch it. When you do that, that's a sign of you as a person that you are ugly inside out, and you not only don't want to be bothered, but you just show your contempt, disdain, hate, and contempt. That's a sign of this hatred and contempt. That's why when you see when they move and ship to other environment with other people, and they have a smile, you're showing relaxation and friendless.
You're inviting. That's an indication of interest if you smile.
Interest. There you go. Interest.
Yeah.
But
we have black men and women haven't been socialized to mate in that way. Yeah. They don't. We have a different mating pattern. So.
Yeah. I tell most people don't accept no stink face, man. For real, man. I know we can't sit there and talk to me with that look.
Women have stink faces to see if you will overcome it, talk her out of it. So, how badly do you want her? Are you willing to put up with her stink face and her negative attitude to have her come around? So it's almost like a test.
Yeah. I don't prove that junk. Yeah. I
And you might hate it, but you know the thing is, my grandson was just going through that, and you know he had to go through that in 5th grade, and he goes through that in 6th grade from a girl that liked him. So it's just been passed down. So it is what it is. So basically, I've given up. So I used to say, well, if we just alter the way black men and women mate and how they deal with each other, and if the kids are still doing it, that means it's nothing you can do about it. It's always it's locked into the culture. Until the culture decays enough to where it will change. Yeah,
it's embedded genetically now.
It's
embedded. Come out the womb as baby, you have that resting its face.
Samantha Coker was just Cooker saying the exact same thing. She said if you would, if she said the same thing, if we change, you know, we have to change for non-black men. Like they if we have the same attitude, then they're gonna be afraid of us. They won't approach us. They're gonna go the other way, right? If we have the same attitude. Okay, so we need to change our attitude, how we, smile, approach, talk, be friendly, all that kind of stuff. And she thought about it. So the thing is, why do you if you did the same thing for the black men, you get better results. That's what she said, and that's coming from a investor. So why would a black man, if you know that other men don't like what you're doing, and you're going to give them something that they like, how come you won't do it for the black man that you say that you love? And that's coming from a divester. In fact, I'm going to do a reaction to that one tomorrow, because whatever she was on, boy, she was giving black women the riot act.
Is this the best woman? Does she have like a bonnet on? I don't know if she was on like a video on a TikTok talking this.
It might bonnet on. I don't know what she looks
I'm,
like.
I'm sure. I don't know if I saw something like that.
Is she thin with a bonnet?
Might be.
Okay, because she says she lost 100 and she was at 300 pounds. She lost 150 pounds because
good for her.
Because she wants to get down to white girl slim.
She must have a lot of excess skin if she's not that tall. The average height is like 5'3", 5'4".
Yeah,
in America. Yeah. So if you like 300 pounds and you're not that tall, if you're not like 5'11" or like 6 feet, like Lizzo, 5'11" or higher, it's gonna when you slim down, it's gonna show some excess skin.
Yeah,
but if you're short, you're fat, bro, that's not gonna look good when you do this.
Hey, you need to go fly to DR and get some of the excess skin taken off then.
Yeah, man, you're going to have to probably laser cut that skin or something.
Oh yeah. That's what.
What you have to do, sweetie? Don't do that.
That's what Kanye West's mother died from that cosmetic surgery, excess skin.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Let Shaw finish what say.
It'll make you beautiful.
What are you teaching your daughters regarding to this philosophy?
That to be able to judge things on an unemotional basis, to try to go by the actual facts of what is presented to you instead of how you feel about it. Our people in general have a problem distinguishing between actual fact and opinion, and we think we have an option to reject the truth based on how we feel about it. And the truth doesn't change just because we feel a certain way about it. It remains the truth. So I teach them that.
Is this book semi-autobiographical?
Oh, absolutely not. Excuse me. Absolutely not. No.
But doesn't the average person that write a book, there's a little bit of him somewhere in what
I'm the writer here. You the TV host, and writers do not do that. You can write about anything you want to. And the only thing I regret is that I didn't write the Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman Part 2, because there's some more. This is just all I put into one book. But I'm coming out with the Black Woman's Guide to Understand the Black Man in 1993, probably.
Well, I will tell you right now, there will be a lot of ladies.
Oh, yeah, we return money every day. They're trying to buy it already, but I don't have it ready.
The most profound question, perhaps, that I can ask you right now, do you believe in what you're writing, or are you a very astute businesswoman making a buck?
Well, I believe absolutely in what I'm writing. I wouldn't come out here and go through what I have to go through around the country every day, and I could be in a different city every day of the year. The demand is just that great. I read an article in Emerge magazine the other day. People have been writing in about my book as a result of an article they wrote a few months ago. And the editor put a note in the magazine, in the front of their magazine, that that's Emerge magazine now. That's supposed to be black people coming out and so forth. They put a paragraph in there that said, we have been still getting letters on Shahrazad Ali's book, The Black Man's Guide to Understand the Black Woman, but we're not going to publish any more of them because we have decided that the book has made enough money. I thought that was the most ignorant remark. So I told my secretary, get him on the telephone. So I got that nigger on the phone. I said, has IBM made enough money? Has Nike, Reebok, AT&T? Why don't you go tell them people that they made enough money? You know, that's so silly that our people take an attitude of wanting to stifle someone else's success. The part that you mentioned in regard to me being a successful publisher and a female entrepreneur, absolutely. I have a great deal of insight about the publishing industry. I did this by myself. And you would think that somebody would want to do a story on that side, since obviously I know how to put together a successful project and carry it off into the second year now. But they don't want to deal with that, and they keep saying I've made enough money. And nobody even knows how much money I have made. They don't know what my responsibilities are. They do know I have 12 children. You know, but I thought that was such an ignorant remark for a black person to make, when all of the people who are making money off of black people in our community, where it's not benefiting us at all. It's not helping us to grow or to change or to be better. And they never get addressed. They never get attacked. But they keep saying to me, you know, that I have made enough money. And they don't even know how much.
The irony.
Yeah, and that's the end of it. And one thing I would say to that it baffles me when we talk about the opposite sex, the women. Now is a thing where it's like, okay, we got to shut it down. Because I think back then, just 32 years ago, even to now, they didn't know that these women are the ones that's going to be spending money and putting back into the system. So like most people that run those blogs, magazines back in the day, they say, it's in the best interest. We got to put this hit piece so people could start investing money. So if women start to really come awakening, which they don't, they're still the same, that it's going to make them act right. And they might stop consuming, in my opinion. So, and the funny thing, the ignorance thing, and I'm glad she made the call that day when they put that stupid hit piece and said, "Oh, so you tell me all these other major corporations that you think they stop making money?" No, but why you telling me? Because they know, saying by cutting your money off of what you're making or what you're producing is having an adverse effect on somebody else's pocket. And I have a question: if they even running black owned at that time, which I doubt. Because if you were black, you would not put stupid things like that. But like I said, niggers want to see other niggers down and don't want to see anybody put and make money off their own merit and talent. That's how I see it.
Or they disagree with what that Negro is saying. So that's what normally happens.
That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. I mean, I disagree a lot of things, but I'm not gonna stop some man or woman's how they make their money. Hell, I don't tell people to stop supporting people on certain people on channels, not for my knowledge. If I do, it is what it is. But really, truly, I say they're gonna still make money regardless. But for a published company, rather they're big or small, to put a hit piece like that back then, it lets you know how much the effect when someone has at that time, even now what the black man is doing now with these more open media outlets.
Yeah.
Now that the more the pressure, and they say this is not something new. The only thing now, you're mad, you're gonna get double the pressure now than what she was suffering at that time.
Yeah.
Man's mouth? What?
Yeah. Well, in our culture, yes. Yeah. If a man had said the exact same thing, he wouldn't have had nearly as much success. But since it came from a black woman, they had to listen. Even back then. Yeah. Black men had said that before. The thing is, it came from a black woman. That's what was different. That's what was different. That was the difference. That's written by a woman.
Yeah, written by a woman. With her own research. So it's not like she just came out of the Google and said, "I was gonna put this book." No, it took some time, and like she said, she didn't want to lower the tone, which a lot of black women don't like the tone. The tone is what it is. You're hearing from a woman, and you didn't like it even when you trying to dissect the certain section of books. I gotta find something wrong with this book. Oh, you say you advocate we should get slapped. That's the only benchmark you have to discredit any person reading the book. I mean, I'm not gonna read a book because that for a person that using common sense, I'm not just discredit any author that puts certain things information in the book. I will take it as is and give my critiques, but I'm not gonna sit there and say, "Oh, this is awful. This should not be existing." No, we don't do that. You don't tell Mr. Charlie when he wrote books that tell us. You don't say anything, but when a black person write, now it's a problem. So I tell black people, get your life in order, man. Get your stuff in order, man. For real, man. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That was a big thing about the slap, and that was in every show she had to answer that question, because black feminists were trying to get people not to buy the book. They tried to discredit the book, so which didn't work. It actually made the book more famous.
Popular.
Because they want to actually read the section for themselves. So
I mean, it was good marketing in her half that someone pointed that out and then just keep reference that. And now it's not just other women going to read it that's going to spend money buy a book. Kamari, there was no PDFs back then. Just you have to buy the book.
You had to buy
rent the book.
Oh yeah, I bought the book.
So she made some serious guap at that time back in the early 90s.
Oh, they had whole book study meetings around her book back then. So.
It was taught in HBCUs as well.
It is now. It is no back then it was, but now it is.
Oh, it's taught now. Okay.
Yeah, now it is. Back then. Oh hell no, it wouldn't have been in the colleges. Women would have saw to it not getting to the colleges, but now it is because it's been around so long. It's become a standard.
Yeah.
So now a lot of stuff that she was saying that they disagree with. The thing is that after 30 years is what she wrote. 34, 35 years ago is still current. And guess what it is? So you can't say that she was wrong because it's still here. We still complain about the exact same thing she was talking about. The exact same things.
And the only thing women could do is either they gonna accept that as is, make the adjustment, or stay where they're at. And if we talk about the so-called black feminists, they if we look at overall, it is actually a failure. They have not improved. The only thing they have is shaming language, talking points, and it's outlived its purpose.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What and this is something I knew, because it's the only way it could happen. But also now they have a lot of that's one reason the PhDs are in the space, because they're confirming the exact same thing we're saying. You had a lot of black feminists actually blocking this kind of information from coming out in the academy. So the only way to get this stuff out, is to bring those people to YouTube, or bring those people to social media, and actually disseminate this information through social media. But now, since the pipeline is open, there's not much they can say. They might as well deal with it, because it's out anyway. Because if you don't deal with it in the classroom, you don't deal with it in the academy, then you have to deal with it in the streets, and that's what they're saying.
Yeah. And the streets going to go so far.
No, the streets are the people. That's the whole thing. The academy is very small. It's influential, but it's very small. And guess what? On social media, guess what all your students have? They got computers, they got smartphones, they got tablets. So it's going to leak back into the classroom anyway. In fact, you go to UK, right? They're really trying to ban social media, because all the boys are going through managed for content, and especially Andrew Tate. They're going through for content. They're trying to slow it down, because they can't stop it.
Yeah. I mean, banning will help, but like I said, people, if you think about it, we're in the streets, there's always going to be word of mouth. People going to be networking still in person, regardless if they're afraid to come outside. So they're going to find information regardless.
When I was a kid, when I was a kid, every little boy found his father's nudie stash. You can't keep it out. Every little boy can find what he needs to find. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't stop it.
And it shouldn't be stopped either. So
yeah.
But so, like I said, this is good. I hope y'all guys enjoyed this. I know most people cover this shorter form or longer form. I eventually came across and covered this Kevin Samuels versus Shahrazad Ali. Not much said with Kevin's side, but what Kevin has presented is set for what Shahrazad and many others have been talking about decades ago. I think one thing with her, it hit more home because she was a woman, and she was very much direct. She's a woman that not only must, but she didn't play at the time. And mind you, if you forgot,
did they say anything about tone? What did they say about tone? They said everything about, but it's not what you said, how you said. Was she nice? Was she nice about it? No, she wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
But like I said, it didn't hurt much until a man said it, and then it really hit them. It really hit them. Yeah. And it goes back to say, and my thing with the tone thing, I tell most men, don't lower your tone if these women ask someone to say, if they can't, they bounce their ass somewhere else. Because
and I'm going to say this, man. Basically, most guys I talk to, and they talk about their sons. Most black guys have given up for the most part. They're tired, and they so trying to get them to come back and say to the community. Most guys, every time they hear this exact same old thing. So they came to the table, same old stuff. But most guys are just walking away from it. Most guys are just walking. They're just tired. Forget it. Then they're not going to change. And I say the same thing. They're not going to change. So trying to wait for them to change is not talking to them. They're not going to change. Okay. You got two choices: either deal with them as they are, because now you hear where they're coming from, or find you another option, whatever that is. And most guys they're tired. So, most some guys really, most guys don't even go back and forth with them anymore, because you see they're starting to slow down. They're not even going back and forth because what they're saying is not changing. Most guys just drifting away. They don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, go to bed, man.
All right, guys. Thank you, BJ, for coming up. All
right,
thank you. We'll do the same soon. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. Looking forward on your take in the comment section of this stream as well. The social media links to follow Chaos Reign are the following. You can follow me on Twitter at Chaos Reign 7. If you're still there, Queen's Virtue, if you could put down the links, I would appreciate it if you're still in the building. Also, add me a friend on Facebook. Eric Rain on Facebook. Oh, actually, Eric Rain 3 on Facebook. Also, follow me on Rumble. Join my Rumble page. The Rumble is CRain23. And let me see if I can find it. Let me post this here. Love y'all to follow me on Rumble. There you go. Follow me on Rumble as well. And also, join the Discord service of the Chaos Reign Show as well. And what else I'm forgetting? Am I forgetting anything else? No, I think that's pretty much it. And I got some people still in the building watching. I appreciate everybody that's watching. Please, if y'all didn't hit the like button, please hit your like button on the way in and on your way out. And join and become a member of the Chaos Reign Show as well. I have 2 tiers. There are videos for membership, some up, and I'll probably put some more. But please become a member. I would love it even more. You could choose which tier you want. As you know, the one live stream that had the ladies smoke for the ladies, that's on the upper tier. So if you want to watch the full video of that, you gotta join the 2nd tier, Extreme Chaos. But that's optional to you. But everything else, you could join the 1st tier for memberships. And depending on how many members I get on it, I might migrate certain videos to the 1st tier. But only with your membership, I can make that possible. And like always, and please donate to the channel. As you know, donation tab is always open. And you know the Cash App for Chaos Reign is $CHAOS 8 Rain REIGN. So please, always, any contribution will go like always to the Chaos Reign channel as well. That's it. Thank you for listening or watching today's stream. Until next time, the Chaos Reign.